Racetrack, East Rutherford, New Jersey. We are going to be all over the place here tonight, but some great racing will be coming your way from East Rutherford. We've got plenty of our fine folks helping us with all the coverage, and right here on our Saratoga set, Chris Griffin joined by Gabe Pruitt. Gabe, welcome to Saratoga. We're going to be trackside, but we got plenty of great harness action here tonight from New Jersey and even Ohio.
Yeah, we really do rapid-fire action, Chris, just the way that I like it here. We've got 7 races from Sciota Downs, of course, just outside Columbus, Ohio, and then the Big M there, East Rutherford, New Jersey, 7 tonight as well. So going to be a lot of action. We're going to see a lot of the sports superstars in action tonight.
Yeah, gorgeous evening out here. Hopefully a gorgeous evening wherever you're watching all this great action. And what's on deck tonight? What are we going to be taking a look at? Meadowlands, races 4 through 10. That 5th and that 7th, some big money on the line in Sciota. They're 8 through 14. Any races that you're really looking forward to? A lot of money involved here tonight.
A lot of money. I think, the Meadowlands, those 2 races are excellent. It's sort of the last time that the 4-year-olds will be age restricted. So it's one of their last dances there against a 4-year-old restricted company. The Graduate Series, they'll graduate now and take on some of the older horses moving forward in the future. And how about those next generations at Sciota Downs, Chris? $150,000 a purse here. That's a buy-in race. So horses have put up anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000 to buy a ticket way back in April to get in those events. 2-year-olds, many, it's just their first or second lifetime start. So a little bit of a wild card type situation. You just never know what you're going to see.
Today's race is brought to you by Claiborne Farms, and of course, taking a look at Naira Bets. You can bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Sign up today. Get that $200 deposit match bonus with the promo code BONUS200. Enjoy betting on over 300 tracks around the world and start winning today. Join now at NairaBets.com. Just getting ready to get things underway, and of course we can't do it alone. We've got to go to somebody that you have a pleasure with working with quite often. Of course, there she is, Jessica Otten, out there trackside at the Meadowlands, and looking forward to a big night. Great to see you, Jess, and I know Gabe is sitting in a different seat watching all the action tonight.
Yeah, you get to sit inside tonight. It was a bit warmer here earlier on, but the sun is starting to set, and it's starting to cool off a little bit. Great conditions for the rest of the races on tap. Gabe did touch on it. Those 2 graduate finals going for $230,000, both on the pace and trot. It'll be the last time that they get to be with the same age group, the 4-year-olds, and then, like he mentioned, they're going to graduate into the older ranks, where they're going to have to face on the best of the best in the country throughout the rest of the season. We have a nice open trot on tap as well tonight. That will go later on in the card as well. Plus, we have a Meadowlands pace prep. We were supposed to have those Meadowlands pace eliminations this evening. Unfortunately, we did not have enough for those, so we have a full field of 10 heading into next week's Meadowlands pace final, the 49th edition of that, but 6 of them will prep here tonight. That will come in race number 8. Really looking forward to that. We had Blueprint qualify here yesterday in preparation as well. Madden Oaks will prep tomorrow at Tioga Down. A couple of them up at Mohawk will prep tonight as well. So really looking forward, of course, to that Meadowlands pace next week. But tonight is all about the 4-year-olds, those graduate pace final and the graduate trot final. Looking forward to the matchup between Nijinsky and Captain Albano. Unfortunately, Captain Albano draws to the inside or to the outside once again, and I think Private Access could probably sweep the trot as well. So plenty of action here for the older horses. But you're spotting 2 Ottens tonight. One's out back in the Midwest, and they're going to have plenty of action covering the 2-year-olds. The next generation races will be on tap tonight. Really looking forward to those, Jenna.
Yeah, we just have 3 next generation races this season, all going for $150,000, as the 2-year-old filly pace one did not fill. So just 3 next generation races on tap. Plenty of first crop sires as well. Summa Cum Laude in range, ready for money. Excited to see their babies ready to roll. We'll also be featuring an open pace as we're scratched down to a field of 7 in there. It's typically an exciting one each and every week here at Sciota Downs. We have 2 divisions of 3-year-old colt pacers in the Ohio Sire Stakes. We'll see Swingtown in action. We'll see Sippin' on Sea Rock in action. Exciting action in there. And we'll also have a division of the 3-year-old filly pacers as well. Some more Sire Stakes program. We had 16 races on tap. We're racing for just shy of $1.1 million on tonight's program. I'm super excited to get the action underway here. Nothing better than some 2-year-old races going for $150,000, and most of them first lifetime starts. Send it back to Chris.
Thank you very much, Jenna. That's right, back here in our studio outside, just here outside of Saratoga, but some great action there just outside of Columbus, Sciota Downs, and looking at some of those younger horses. But taking a look at the race that we're going to be coming up on, race number 4, where does it set up for the night? And, you see some of the bigger money throughout the evening, but from a wagering standpoint, just kind of taking a look at some of those multi-race wagers and kind of what bets are you kind of taking a look at?
Well, the pick 4 at the Meadowlands, that's what we're honed in on. That's race 6 tonight. But, really any of these races, you can find a little value. That's what we're looking to do. I actually want to try to beat some of these favorites and some of the big money events here tonight. I think the races at Sciota with the 2-year-olds, we just don't know enough about the horses. We've seen them qualify just once or twice, so we just don't exactly know how they're going to perform. Probably neither do their connections. So it's really an exciting time of year as they begin their career. Obviously, the horse at the Meadowlands, a little bit more known commodities, but I just don't think in some of those big money finals there's that much separating the horses, Chris. I think it's going to come down to the type of trip, and whoever gets that good trip could seal the deal.
All right, we're going to see how the trip does go through, and we're going to be taking a look at that 4th race from the Meadowlands and down towards the inside, a 4-5 favorite right now, and I Know Better. I know we're trying to beat some favorites on the evening, but maybe this is a favorite that you kind of lean towards.
Yeah, that's I Know Better. Sounds like what I mumble to myself every time I make a bad bet at the track. But I Know Better made a barn change, Chris. 3 starts back. He moved over to the Joe Bongiorno barn, and he's just been a different animal since that point in time. Knows how to get it done. He's a 4-year-old, 9 for 18 in his career. He comes off a career best clocking. He raced last Saturday night and absolutely won pretty much under wraps. It was an easy 2-length score. Is a little bit of a step up tonight, but I think clearly the one to beat, as the public has indicated right now as well.
We're going to have a post-parade in just a second, but the scratch of the 3, did that have a pretty big impact on this race?
It did, because I think the pace scenario has changed a bit now. The 3, I think, was going to be out there leaving, and I think that would have made a little bit hotter type pace scenario. I think the one that it plays more into the favorites' hands now with the 3 on.
There is your even money favorite right now, Joe Bongiorno, on the 1.
Yeah, an easy win last out. Again, razor sharp stepping up tonight.
We'll see Scott Zeron here, the number 2, coming into your shot here very soon, but Sweet Ideal currently at 4-1.
Steady campaigner. He's hit the board 7 of 14 this year, including a runner-up at the same level last out. The Money Man, Scotty Z at the bike there. 4-1 sounds about right.
From a pace standpoint, saw that big scratch of the 3. Talking about the number 4 in here, Midnight Nation.
He's coming off a win as well. This horse was first up, uncovered, as we called last out. Got the job done, so sharp, but takes a step up against deeper company tonight.
There's the 5. I'll hunt you down.
11 of 25. Knows how to get it done, but deeper water now. He started to rise up at the class ranks.
Number 6 going to be here at 9-1, kind of that mid-range price.
Yeah, this guy, he's been kicking around up the Meadowlands. Is a 9 of 19 of the board this year. Probably just a little level too much above his head tonight.
7 is going to be Spin Doctor Hanover.
Yonkers Invader from across the bridge there in New York. Hasn't raced since May the 29th. Comes off a scratch 6, Chris. Typically not a path to success.
Another scratch in there was the number 8, but we've got the 9 coming in here very soon, and that saved me a dance.
Interesting horse here. Last 2 seasons, he's 6 years old now. He's 1 for 22, but plenty of back class here. This guy's been over $600,000 a nine. If he ever fired back, he could beat this field off memory, but he's been a little dull of late.
It looks like we got maybe, what do we got there?
We have a shoeing change.
Okay.
A shoeing change with 19th man. And how about driver Dexter Dunn? Look at him down there on the left side of the horse. He's trying to help out and figure some things out there as well. So
is there anything the man Dexter Dunn can't do at this point?
He is amazing. There you see him. He's been the Dan Patch Driver of the Year since arriving in New Zealand, I think 4 or 5 seasons.
What impact does this have, though, for people maybe watching us for the first time, maybe not seeing as much harness? I mean, taking a look at just kind of taking a shoe repair or just an adjustment? Or
well,
what
shoeing is very, very important on the harness side. And we're going to give many shoeing notes as we move through this card tonight. It's a lot more important, Chris, with trotters than it is with pacers. Pacers you typically don't see a lot tricky about it. With trotters, they'll actually pull the shoes from time to time. You can't get away with it every time. It'd be too, hard on a horse to race week in and week out without shoes. But what that does, whether you're racing with aluminum shoes or steel shoes or even barefoot, sometimes, it'll really change a horse up. It'll lighten a horse up. Like when they pull those shoes, you know that the connections are taking an aggressive type shot because, again, you just can't get away with that every time. So shoeing is a very important note. But, again, you typically see those notes a lot more with trotters and pacers.
Is that something Dexter Dunn would have seen right away when they got the horse to the paddock? And
Correct. Yeah, and then this time, in this case, they didn't even get him out of the paddock there. So, the drivers will typically notice that, obviously, sitting in behind. And, the good ones are going to be checking out everything. They want to see what's under the hood before we go to battle. So I'm sure Dex gave a heads up there, and we're getting that taken care of with 19th man, who, by the way, Chris, I think is a horse that could factor here. He's up in class a little bit. Again, not going to hurt to have the services of Dexter Dunn. But, with these 2 scratches inside of him, he'll start from post 8, and he's got some early speed. I thought, maybe a win would be asking maybe a little too much. But I think it's a horse that could leave out of here, and in terms of the exotics, could be in play here for a big slice.
All right, we got plenty coming up here at the desk. But, Jess, I know you are trackside, of course, and we saw 19th Man was still there in the paddock taking a look at the shoe with the blacksmith. But we've got our favorites on course. And what are you seeing there? You're a lot closer to the action there at the Meadowlands.
Yes, little shoe repair there for 19th Man. As Gabe had mentioned, this horse went on quite a roll at a lower level class. I think the 2 scratches to his inside will help. But I'm going to try and beat the favorite in here. I like the 2 Sweet Ideal for Bill McKenzie and Scotty Z teaming up here. They're usually a potent pair here at the Big M. I know Better's coming off of a really strong win here at the Big M at the 77.5s. He's going to move up a little bit to the 80.5s. But Sweet Ideal's been racing at the 80.5s. A couple maybe lackluster performance, but you have to really look for some form in between the lines there. That line last time out behind Fendi Hanover really caught my eye. He's had a couple of outside posts. He was forwardly placed off the gate last week. 27-4 kicker, a 151 mile, 4 wins from 14 starts this season. He's on the board right now at 4-1, and I love price shopping in these higher level Trackmaster races. Scotty Z has 2 wins so far on the card tonight, so I would be seeing that he would have, or expecting that he would have a big night ahead of him. I do use I Know Better underneath. He's right now even money on the board. Really dominant win from post 8 last time out, just a softer group. And I agree with Gabe. I think that Light and Sweet, with the scratch of Light and Sweet in the race, a lot of the betting is going to be changed because I had that horse pegged last week as well. But I'm going to stick with Sweet Ideal. He's 4-1 right now. He's scoring down really nicely. And I'm going to try and beat that favorite I Know Better at even money.
Thank you very much, Justin. How evenly matched would you say the 1 and the 2? I mean, the price disparity that we're seeing, even money versus a 4-1. Does that feel about right to you, Gabe?
I think so. This is about where I thought the wager would fall, particularly when you take out the 2 scratches, Chris. You've got really a solidified second choice, the 2 Sweet Ideal. Different maps into tonight. Sweet Ideal's been a steady customer at this level. He's raced at this level the last couple of times, again, including that runner-up performance last out that Jess had mentioned. I Know Better's a horse on the rise, and again, it really has been a rise since changing barns. 3 starts back. He's got 2 wins over the time period. The only race he lost, he's 2 for 2 at the Meadowlands. That was over Yonkers, the half-mile track. But he's been very, very good, and again, comes off the fastest time of his entire career. So that tells you that he's just absolutely in razor-sharp, peak form off that win last Saturday night. So I just think, he's a horse on the rise. Unfortunately, all of that adding up to a short price right now, just making me look bad. I'm teed right up here on the chalk in the first race of the program. But I just think this horse, I don't know where the ceiling is. A lot of upside potential here since changing barns. And then I think even on the step up, in my mind, he'll be able to handle it.
And we talk about the race flow, and once they do, get to the gate and once they start driving, what do you see from a pace scenario standpoint? Who's going to jump out there? Who can kind of hold the key to the race?
Well, obviously, you got the 2 on the inside who are going to garner most of the respect. But having said that, I still think someone is going to take a poke out of here from the outside. And that's why I think 19th Man for the extreme outside. He's got some speed. He's not a horse that wants to do a lot of the work, Chris, but if he could get to the lead, and then, the favorite, I think at some point, I Know Better, I think he will come and retake and dictate the fractions of the front end. And Standardbreds by nature, they like to draft along. They're doing a lot less work. They like those type of good trips. So I think if the 10 could leave and then get covered up, so to speak, that, he could just get towed along. But I think at the end of the day, when the dust settles, that's the horse right there you're going to see in the front end. I Know Better. Both of his wins at the Meadowlands, he took over the lead past the quarter pole. So he's a horse that, gets out of the gate okay, but it seems to like to let the dust settle, wants to be the last one of the lead, and hopefully last until the wire.
All right, we're about ready to get this 4th race underway. It looks like they are getting the starter call here, getting ready to get towards the gate, but we've got Gabe Pruitt's top selection, the number 1 and I Know Better. Sweet Ideal, the 2 there for Jess Otten. And we've got some great racing action all throughout the evening. Everybody's got the shoe repair. Everybody's ready to go. And I believe we're going to be throwing it up to track announcer Ken Warkentin here at the Meadowlands, our first here tonight on FS2.
On the pick 6, scratch 3 and 8, a field of 8 lined up. Preferred equine starting gate is rolling at 4-5 to 1. I Know Better. 3-1 on 2, Sweet Ideal. We have 6-1 on the 4, Midnight Nation, fresh off a win. On gate, race 4. Here they come. They're off. Save Me a Dance on the outside, and 19th man in blast-off mode. And I Know Better, the favorite from the rail, leaves very sharply with Sweet Ideal on the inside right alongside him. It is Midnight Nation getting away in 4th position now. It's swooping down as 19th man as they head to the quarter. I'll Hunt You Down is 5th to the opening quarter, followed by Lewis Litt on the inside, stride for stride with Save Me a Dance, who backed away early. Spin Doctor Hanover, the early trailer. 19th man at 22-1 with Dexter Dunn. 27-3 in a give and go for Joe Bongiorno and I Know Better. I Know Better back to the top. 19th man revved up in 2nd. Sweet Ideal tracks along in 3rd. Midnight Nation is 4th, and I'll Hunt You Down is 5th. Lewis Litt edges to the outside and goes up on the outside. Then it's Spin Doctor Hanover and Save Me a Dance is now the trailer. Loose leader, I Know Better, looking to win again in front by 2 1/4 on 19th man. The half 56-1 for I Know Better. Repeat minded here. 19th man second. Lewis Litt attacks first over from 3rd and gathers steam as they head to 3/4. A live toe for I'll Hunt You Down, now 4th on the outside. A shuffle for Sweet Ideal on the inside, 5th. Midnight Nation to the outside, 3rd over. Then Spin Doctor Hanover and Save Me a Dance. At 3/4, I Know Better encounters Lewis Litt on the outside. At 3/4 in 1:24-1, it's I Know Better in front. I Know Better. Lewis Litt got a cold shoulder, but he's back out for more, and under urging is I Know Better, who needs to polish it off. Lewis Litt on the outside pours it on. It is I Know Better and Lewis Litt in a firing line for 3rd. I Know Better almost home. I Know Better. Then Lewis Litt. Then Sweet Ideal. And I'll Hunt You Down. I Know Better. 150-4.
And it was I Know Better. Joe Bongiorno getting the job done. 1-5. It looked like the price ended up there. Short price favorite. Not exactly how a 1-5 favorite should win, as the number 6 Lewis Litt made this favorite work.
Yeah, he was driven out there, and it was a good effort from Lewis Litt because he was uncovered there a long way, Chris, and really put this favorite to the test. But at the end of the day, now 3 of 4 since the barn change. Pounded late, but the big favorite as advertised in race 4.
Great race. Many more coming on. America's Daily Races.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, headed right over to Sciota Downs. Their 8th race is going to be coming up, a $65,000 purse Ohio Sire Stakes. Heavy action right now on the entry. You get the 1, the 1A, and the 1B, all for the low price of 2 to 5 right now as we get set for their 8th race coming up at Sciota Downs. And of course, we've got Jenna Otten, and she is trackside bringing you all that great racing action from just outside of Columbus, Sciota Downs. And Jenna, taking a look at this field here, anything that we got to look forward to, or is it all about this heavily short-priced entry?
Yeah, I think it's going to be all about the 3 Burke Brigade horses in here. You have Fear the Hate, Harrisburg Heights, and Swingtown. That will wear the saddle pad 1, but Swingtown will start from post 9. Harrisburg Heights starts from post 7, and Fear the Hate gets to start from post 2. So the entries in there, it's going to be very hard to get around them 2 to 5, as they have all been doing some fantastic work this season. Fear the Hate, 6 for 6 so far in his 3-year-old campaign, as he was recently bought by the Burke Brigade for his 3-year-old season. Harrisburg Heights the same way. He's 5 of 7 this year so far, has not had the same driver twice, as Ronnie Wren Jr. will pick up the drive. And of course, kind of the poster boy story of the 3, that'll be Swingtown. He was 3rd in that elimination of the North America Cup. Had a good effort, kind of got a little traffic trouble in the North America Cup final, paced in 47-3. Chris Page seems to get along well with this son of Down by the Seaside. He was a winner of the Next Generation last year, so he's got a special taste for this day, as he will have the most work to do, though. Despite wearing saddle pad 1, he will have to start from the far outside of the wings in post 9. I do believe you can't go wrong with using the 1 on top of your ticket. Another horse I look forward to seeing in here is the 2-0-0 I'm on Fire. He was actually unraced at the age of 2. He was entered into the Next Generation, had an injury the day after training down for the race. They scratched him, brought him back at the age of 3. He has been pretty good since. He's won 4 of 9. Went to the winner's circle last time out, 51-4. Austin Hanner's the regular pilot here on this son of Catch the Fire for trainer Todd Luther, as he looks to add another win to his column. He's 6-1 currently on the board. Not bad value, but I'm going to say again, it's going to be hard to get around the Burke trainees in here. So another horse that I use is Down by the Water. He gets to start from the saddle pad he's going to wear. That will be post 6 for Sam Scalacci, Chris Lems. He's coming off a strong win at Northfield Park, racing primarily up there on their half-mile track. He does like Sciota Downs, though. That is where his lifetime mark was taken, 152-2. He is 6-1 on the board right now. He has been doing some good work over the course of the season. And to round out my tickets, I'm going to use a 3, a Unique Catch, coming off a 2nd place finish. This will be his 3rd start on Lasix, 2nd in the Sire Stakes last time out, as we will send it back to Chris and Gabe, as we're just less than a minute here from race 8.
Thank you very much, Jenna. And, of course, Gabe, looking at the entry, you know, you take a look at the 1 and the 1A, and you and Jenna kind of back and forth on those selections, but your main contenders look to be as part of the entry. So you're kind of it's just bragging rights at that point.
Powerful entry here. Ron Burke, the sport's all-time leading trader, Chris, nearing it on 16,000 career wins. Yes, I said 16,000. Over $350 million in purse earnings, and he's got a powerful 3-pronged attack here. I think any of these horses could have been the favorite in this spot individually. Now you pack them together. That's why I think we could see 1-9 at the end of the day. Swingtown, probably the most powerful one. That's the 1B. He starts from post 9. You know, that's no easy assignment here. Big money, $65,000 on the line. Talk about a little bit of a hunch play. Swingtown, how did he begin his career? Well, he won the Next Generation last year, $150,000. Those are the races we'll feature tonight, beginning with race 10 there. Talk about what a good launching pad it was for his career. He's now made over $500,000. Again, I think he's the one to beat here. Should be a good one in race 8.
All right, we'll see if, as Jenna Otten said, it's the Burke Brigade, if they will just take down this 8th race very easily at a short price. It's the Ohio Sire Stakes. And track announcer Barry Vickroy will have the action here from Scioto. This is their 8th race right here on America's Day at the Races.
Ohio Sire Stakes 3-year Colt Pacers. 8th race from Sciota Downs. Start of a pick 3. They're at the post of the year. They go. There, Avi end up pacing. Fear the Hate going for the lead. I'm on fire to the inside. Harrisburg Heist blasts away, center of the track, away fourth. Unique Catch. Outside fifth, Swingtown into the turn 6 is Copper Penny. Followed by Lather Up Athens. Then down by the water and Odds on Valhalla. Early trailer to the top. Harrisburg Heist takes over. From Fear the Hate. Swingtown continuing to march up on the outside. Oh, I'm on Fire is now fourth. Unique Catch fifth. 27 flat. Opening quarter. Copper Penny is there 6 along the inside. Next is Lather Up Athens. Down by the water and Odds on Valhalla. Swingtown has taken over the lead. Harrisburg Heist is there second. Fear the Hate third. Oh, I'm on Fire stays in. Unique Catch out first up. Following Cover. Lather Up Athens. And down by the water, the trailer is Odds on Valhalla. They pass the half. 55-3. 28-3. Second panel. It's Swingtown in control. First up. Unique Catch at his wheel. Closing in. Now just a neck back. Pocket sitter. Harrisburg Heist. Fourth on the outside, slightly gapping Covers. Lather Up Athens inside. Fear the Hate. Then it is down by the water. Oh, I'm on Fire. Copper Penny and Odds on Valhalla. 3/4 up next for Swingtown. He's there. In 122-3. 27 flat backside. Unique Catch will not go away. Harrisburg Heist from the pocket. Looking to shake free. Fear the Hate. He'll come 3 wide. Down by the water trying to rally. Oh, I'm on Fire on the inside. Into the stretch. Swingtown with the lead. Harrisburg Heist in the passing lane outside. Here comes Fear the Hate. He's closing sharply. It's Swingtown to win at Swingtown from Harrisburg Heist. Fear the Hate. Oh, I'm on Fire. Copper Penny. And down by the water. 149-4.
Well, we've seen formful races before, but Gabe, that was as formful as you can get
That's
there, as you do see the top 3 spots all going to the end.
And I just thought they were so powerful. Look how easy he did this too, Chris. I mean, Chris Page had him completely geared down and wrapped up. So when you see that margin, it's going to be a little deceptive. I mean, that horse could have won by as many as he wanted to, literally. You see him just riding like a statue in the bike there, fending off his stablemate. Says we could have raced that one as a training set for Ron Burke in the morning there as they go 1, 2, 3. Powerful entry. They look the best, and indeed were much the best there in that Ohio Sire Stakes.
Nice job there by the Burke Brigade. And we went over to Meadowlands, and we are wrapping up race number 4 there. It was I Know Better. We talked about the heavy favorite, short price favorite, getting the job done, had to hold off a very stubborn Lewis Litt.
Yeah, that was a big effort there. That was a little bit of the surprise. The Too Sweet Ideal, third there, just a little bit unfortunate with the trip. He's a horse that likes to track as long as he can. He doesn't like to take a lot of air, so Scott Zeron opted to sit in rather than attack with him on the outside. You know, when you do that, you have to take your medicine. Sometimes you get lucky and it opens up. Sometimes it does not. It just didn't open up until too late. I'm just not sure would have made any difference there, as I Know Better was much the best.
Big race coming up. Race number 5, the graduate final, 4-year-old open pace, 1 mile, $230,000 here, and a field of 10, Gabe.
Yeah, and you take a look at some of the star power, and here, Chris, Captain Albano getting the early nod there from even that extreme post 10 there is the favorite. He was last year's Little Brown Jug champion, over $1.1 million. He made last year 3. He's over 1.6 in his career, but he'll have to tackle Nijinsky, who comes off a sharp win last out.
Jess and Gabe, they're going to have plenty more. We're going to have a post break when we come back with that 4-year-old open pacers from the Meadowlands. Coming up.
Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program in Oxford, New York was created in 2018 by Wanda Palacini to provide training to transition for finding homes and new careers for horses. Horses are started with groundwork and then ridden in an arena before moving on. Horses at Purple Haze are then evaluated and adopted out based on abilities and temperament. If you have a horse that you care about, or if you're looking for a great pleasure horse, contact Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program at 518-669-2715.
Welcome to FreeRacehorse.com, a place where every horse has a story and every story is meant to be shared. Here, we bridge the gap between these incredible athletes and the people who love them. Every great story begins with a bond. Our stable is more than just a home for these magnificent animals. It's a place of trust, care, and understanding. Here on the training track, dreams take shape. This is where perseverance meets passion. At FreeRacehorse.com, we don't just train horses, we tell their stories. Our film studio allows us to capture the emotion, the drama, and the beauty of their journeys. And beyond the races and the cameras, there's a place for peace. The paddock is where our horses find solace, where friendships are formed, and where their spirits remain free. At FreeRacehorse.com, we do more than train racehorses. We share their stories, Because when you truly know a horse, you don't just watch them run, you run with them.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race from every track on every screen every day. Monthly packages starting as low as $5 per month. RTN gives you great value and access to more HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit rtn.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire.
Back here on America's Day at the Races, race number 5 coming at you post-parade time as we've got a really nice race coming up here, $230,000 on the line. There is the one at a big number there, Gabe, Van Diemen Blue Chip.
Yes, triple-digit odds last time against Graduate Company, 58-1, Chris, and quite honestly, he looks the part.
There was the 2, Sabonis.
The Sabonis I like a lot here. Private purchase after his 3-year-old year. He'd made over $500,000. Brett Pelling, one of the sport's all-time leading trainer. I see they adjusted some equipment tonight as well.
The 3, Calico Jack Hanover.
Decent-sized long shot. He was a runner-up, 2 back, close being just a couple of lengths last out. Fringe player.
There you saw the 4 at a big price. Here's the 5, Arbitrage Hanover.
Yeah, 4 and 5, both a couple of long shots outside staring in, I think.
The 6 is Nijinsky.
Pepsi North America Cup winner, Chris, from a year ago, over $1.3 million. He'll be a big part of the pace scenario.
Number 7 coming up here is Captain Luke, 8-1.
Trip handicappers. This guy was locked in and loaded last time, so he's getting a little play here at 8-1. I think he does have a puncher's chance.
Some big prices here. There's the 8, Yannick Gingras will be on.
Just has not fired back. Fun time by Ama. A little bit of an outsider.
9 is going to be 33-1 Chenggang.
Yeah, it was 36-1 last out. Tough post tonight. Tough for him to get involved at it. Not much early speed.
Tough post maybe here, the 10, Captain Albano.
Well, I can tell you that, but he has plenty enough early speed, Chris, to overcome this difficult post. He was locked in last time. He just couldn't squeeze through that at the inside. Beaten only a nose by Nijinsky last out. Of course, last year's Little Brown Jug Wetter. He bet over $1.1 million at the age of 3. He's a tough customer. I don't think there's any question he's going to be blasting off the wings here tonight.
All right, there is your field of 10, $230,000 the purse here. Looking forward to a great pace here. Jess Otten with plenty more here before today's 5th.
I definitely agree with Gabe on that one. I think Captain Albano will be forwardly placed off of the gate from post 10. Last time out, it was a thrilling stretch duel between Captain Albano and Nijinsky. It was a very tight photo. Nijinsky ended up coming out a whisker ahead of Captain Albano. I'm going to go with Nijinsky on top. I think just because of the post positions, he's going to have a little bit of an easier trip. I don't know how hard Todd's going to have to leave from post 10 to get involved. There could be a quarter pop-up in 25 and change because there's plenty of levers to his inside. One of those, I believe, will be Nijinsky from post 6. He's 2-1 on the board, 8-5 right now on the 10, obviously, Captain Albano. Those are the 2 I think that it's going to come down between, but Gabe had also alluded to that Captain Luke is taking some sneaky money as well. He's 8-1 on the board. I actually have him pegged for 3rd, and I know a lot of people like Sabonis in this spot. I like Captain Luke. You know, he was a hard-fought winner in leg 1 of that graduate up at Mohawk. He left. He sat, and then he moved to the front, a neck, 49-2, just a tick off of his lifetime mark. Shipped down here to the Big M for leg 2 and 3, was 3rd in leg 2, excuse me, behind Captain Albano, and was running over horses in leg 3. He's got post 7. I would assume Jason Bartlett will have him forwardly placed off of the gate from post 7 as well. I think Nijinsky will be forwardly placed. He's got plenty of gate speed. I like Sabonis a bit in here as well. I use him for 4th. He's 7-2 on the board right now. Dexter Dunn, loyal to Brett Pelling. You know, in that first event that he had back on the 31st of May, he was 3rd. He was the beaten favorite in an open event against Maximus Mickey. He just didn't look right. They said he lost a shoe, never really got a hold of the track. He was 3rd in that event. Gave him a little time off, not really, about a week away from the races, qualified him. He was good. I didn't really love that race where he finished 8th. I didn't think he was any good that night. Then we saw the Sabonis where he thought he could be last time out from post 7. He floated off of the gate into that outer flow and was just beating a neck there behind Nijinsky and Captain Albano. 25-4 he kicked home. I don't know if his strong suit in a field of horses like this would be to be forwardly placed off of the gate, but I don't think Dexter's going to want to be too far off of the action. I know Gabe had mentioned that Calico Jack Hanover. He's on the board right now at 8-1 or 7-1 now as well. He was a runner-up behind Nijinsky. He was a runner-up behind Captain Albano. He was parked every step of the way on that last event, 25-4 to finish 5th there. He's got a better post to work with, and I think that he's going to be forwardly placed off of the gate as well. So I think that it could be a crapshoot into the first turn. here. I think that Nijinsky and Captain Albano will definitely both be forwardly placed. So we see Dexter getting off the bike, fixing something. I'm not quite sure what it is, maybe an earplug string or a number pad, just to make sure that everything is secured right. But I'm going to use Nijinsky on top. I'll use Captain Albano underneath. Captain Luke, I really think, has a chance to be an upset in here. He's on the board right now at 9-1. And then, of course, the bonus, Calico Jack Hanover underneath. 2-1, I think, right now is a gift on Nijinsky, guys.
There you see Nijinsky on your screen right now, sitting at that 2-1. And Gabe, your top pick being Sabonis in here, and you're going to the 2. But why is the 2 going to turn the tables here tonight? Because you heard some, maybe knocks against the number 2 Sabonis in some of those last efforts.
Well, I think he's still the new connections are still making adjustments. Chris, Brett Pelican again took this guy after his 3-year-old campaign. He raced for other connections. By the way, you know what his record was after the 3-year-old year? 16 out of 18. And we're going to take a look at the replay here last week from the graduate. You're going to see Sabonis here first up there on the outside. He's pouring the pressure onto the 5 Nijinsky. You're going to see Captain Albano. See him there at the inside third. He really has nowhere to go. He's trying to take a peek through down at the inside now. And then the horse behind him, Captain Luke, is actually going to end up blocked here in between horses. You'll see him with a lot of late pace, but ultimately it's Nijinsky there just going to hold off Captain Albano, who just did not get through in time. I just think this is a race where we are going to see a wild pace scenario. $230,000 on the line. You put a couple of the logicals, Chris, and, tricky post. Post 6 for Nijinsky. That's obviously not too bad, but you want to be out there and in the action. And then Captain Albano, his hand is forced. You just can't take back when you've got that extreme outside post. So I think the pace scenario is going to be wild. That's why I think that Sabonis could step up here as a little bit of a closer as we take a look back at this one as well. Captain Albano was going to pop here, and he was the 8-5 favorite this night in the graduate. This was on June the 13th, and you'll see Titus stay right there at the inside. Worked out this time. The horse in the lead starts to drift out. That's what horses tend to do as they get tired. That allowed plenty of room for Captain Albano to come on through down at the inside. Nijinsky, his rival, that's him, giving chase there the second spot. So he finished close there as well. And Captain Luke, that was the horse with trouble last week. He's third. So lots of faces that know each other very well. They're going to renew the rivalry once more. But I just think when you've got Captain Albano certainly leaving from post 10, Nijinsky certainly leaving from post 6, and a couple of others, by the way, that have good speed as well, I just think we're going to see a red-hot pace, and I think that's going to play in the hands of the 2 Sabonis. And I did see them make some further equipment adjustments on this guy tonight as well. So they're still trying to get him figured out. Just missed a neck last time, so it wouldn't take much more to put him in the winner's circle, I think, past the 2 favorites.
So it sounds like you're fairly evenly matched. They've seen each other a lot. You feel like you kind of knew the prices, what they were going to be, but Jess was talking about the 6 and Nijinsky. That 2-1, does that seem like a pretty appetizing price?
That's a very good price. I mean, he was in against essentially this same crew last out there, Chris. So that was back on June the 21st. That was a race we just watched where he won by a nose. He was 1-2. So, how are you getting 4 times the price tonight? That does seem, awfully strange to me as the money just continues to pour in here. But I do think horses that have traffic trouble, particularly on the harness side, they tend to get a little overbet. We all have access to these replays. We all do our homework. And I think a lot of folks that, probably thought he was going to win if he got through last week, well, they're showing back up tonight to back him up there as he continues to take all that steam at 7-5. I'm actually hoping I might get a better click here off. I'm hoping I get 7-2 or 4-1 at the end of the day on my top choice Sabonis.
We'll find out what's going to happen. Race number 5, Captain Albano right now is 7-5. Your favorite, Ken Workington, with the call.
It's the Stan Bergstein Graduate Series Final, 4-year-old open pace, sponsored by International Sound Corporation. $230,000, 7-5 on 10. Captain Albano at 2-1. The 6 Nijinsky. They're on gate. Here they come. And they're off, and Chain Gang and Captain Albano from the outside. Captain Luke blasts off, Nijinsky flashing speed. Van Diemen, Blue Chip, and Sabonis on the inside. Van Diemen, Blue Chip, Sabonis on the outside. And Captain Luke is third and surging on the outside. Nijinsky gets away fourth. Captain Albano advances into fifth. Calico Jack Hanover is sixth. And then its time is on my side, followed by Chain Gang on the outside, and Arbitrage Hanover underway from last is Fun Time by Anna. Hot quarter, 26-1 as Captain Luke takes the lead. But on the outside, here comes Sabonis and Dexter Dunn at 9-2. Sabonis on the move up is Nijinsky, and Louis Waz got him in gear, already challenging for the lead. Captain Luke back to third on the inside now. Van Diemen, Blue Chip is fourth. Captain Albano to the outside, fifth. Calico Jack Hanover, sixth. Saving ground is Time is on my side at the rear of the field. Then it's Arbitrage Hanover, and that one is stride for stride. It is Captain Albano underway. From the rear of the field, Fun Time by Emma. 54 was the half mile. They head to 3/4, and it's a tussle here. Nijinsky on the outside trying to wrestle it away. Sabonis battling back on the inside gamely. Captain Luke is right there. Looming large is Captain Albano. Captain Albano all set to come 3 deep and driving. Van Diemen Blue Chip with no racing room. Calico Jack Hanover's third over, and he fans to the outside. But it's Sabonis 1:21 and 2. A pressured 3/4. Sabonis will try to hold on. It's Sabonis in front. On the inside, Captain Luke is full out trying to reel him in. Captain Albano on the outside needs to do more. Then it's Nijinsky surging through on the inside. Captain Luke, it's Sabonis. Sabonis upsets in the graduate. Sabonis over Captain Luke and Nijinsky in 1:47 and 3.
And there you have it. Sabonis gets to the winner's circle. Maybe not quite exactly how you drew it up, but wow, what an effort there.
Yeah,
from
it's
Sabonis.
just, that's a good thing about Dexter Dudd. He's one of the best in the world for a reason, Chris. And he sensed the way this was setting up. You had a big long shot there, Van Diemen Blue Chip, and went out the lead. Along with Captain Luke there. He wanted to go on and put Sabonis in play early. We did get a couple of clicks better. We were 7-2 behind the gate, got off 9-2, so I love that price. But at the end of the day, it was the same 4 that we'd shown back there on a couple of the last replays. The usual suspects get it done. Nijinsky had to take all the worst of the trip. He was battling first up there on the outside, traveling a longer distance, even around the turns there on that 2-path. Sabonis, kept him wide. The horse might be just a little bit disappointing tonight was Captain Albano, the 6-5 favorite. He got to follow Nijinsky up. You see, he was just okay finishing it with third place effort.
Yeah, did round things out, got in the trifecta, but was not enough. Superfecta, at least. We'll have plenty more and plenty more coverage on America's Day at the races.
He was fourth, wasn't he? He stopped there fourth. Geez, he raced terrible.
Preferred Equine Online has proven time and time again to be the industry's online provider, selling the highest priced horses in all categories online, including racehorses, broodmares, yearlings, weanlings, and stallion shares. Full service, trusted and transparent. Contact Preferred for your online sales needs at www.preferredequineonline.com.
Back here in America's Day at the Races, headed right over to Sciota Downs. Their 9th race will be coming up, and we got a $30,000 Purse in there, couple scratches. Scratch of the 4 and the 5 for today's ninth, but we're not going to, doesn't look like we're going to have that 1 to 5, 1 to 9 short price in there. Let's find out more before tonight's ninth race, I should say, at Sciota. Jenna Otten with plenty there trackside.
We are scratched down to a field of 7 tonight for the open pace, and it has been competitive since we've opened here at Sciota Downs. I'm going to try to tee up another winner. I'm going to go to the 7, Surreal Ideal. Gets to slide down to our winningest post position here at Sciota Downs. That will be post 5. Got a chance to catch up with Vernon Beach. He said the only knock on this guy, he can't get off the wings as quick as the other ones do, but he's just 3 starts off a lifetime mark of 148 flat. He followed that up with a 2nd place finish in 47-3. That was behind By the Missile and a track record performance that night. I'm going to be on board with Surreal Ideal. You're getting a little bit of a price with them at 4-1. As a 3-2 favorite is the horse that I'm going to slot in there for second. One of 2 Christy Noble trainees in here. That's Celtic Spirit. Dan Noble had his choice of both those trainees. He's stuck with this guy. He was second in the Open last week behind Racing Rebel, who gets the rail here tonight. Celtic Spirit, he is very quick. He's got a very quick turn of foot. He's that last 1/8 of a mile, he's always sprinting. He picked up an Open win. That was 3 back in a dead heat finish with Captain Cowboy, who came back and won again tonight. So that values the effort there of Celtic Spirits. And then hard not to talk about Racing Rebel as he gets the rail to work with. He's coming off of an Open win for the Connections. Ron Berg, Chris Page team back up. He's 4 of 8 so far this season. He got that win last time out by a length. He did get the benefit of the trip, though. He sat the perfect pocket ride, and when the passing lane opened up, he shot through there. 26-4 last quarter, 48-4. Again, scratched down to a field of 7. It could be a shootout here in the open pace. There is going to be a favorite in Celtic Spirit. He's 9-5 as they head to behind the gate.
Rebel, Lou Hill, Celtic Spirit, PJ Lou, Surreal Ideal, Wicked Character, and on the outside, Art Attack, field of 7 at the post of the ear. They go. They're off and pacing. Celtic Spirit gets the first call. Art Attack fires away from the outside at the rail as Racing Rebel. Lou Hill away 4th, into the turn 5th. Surreal Ideal. Next is PJ Lou and Wicked Character, the early trailer. Make their way around the turn, drive to the quarter. Art Attack made the front. Will release Celtic Spirit to the top as they make their way on over to the quarter. Racing Rebel 3rd. Lou Hill is 4th, followed by Surreal Ideal. PJ Lou and Wicked Character, 25-4. Opening quarter, and Celtic Spirit leads the way. Art Attack is there 2nd. Racing Rebel 3rd. Tight lines on Lou Hill 4th. He's followed by Surreal Ideal. Then PJ Lou and Wicked Character. Everyone content with the tempo thus far, and Celtic Spirit will lead them in and around the clubhouse turn. Driving for the half. Art Attack is 2nd. Racing Rebel is there 3rd. Lou Hill is 4th. Surreal Ideal to the outside. He'll pick up plenty of cover up the rail. PJ Lou, the trailer. Wicked Character, 55-2 for the half. Danny was stealing, 29-3, second quarter. It's Celtic Spirit with the lead. Racing Rebel is attacking first up there, wheel to wheel, stride for stride, driving for 3 quarters. Art Attack has the pocket. Lou Hill, 2nd over 4th. He's ready to come 3 wide. Then it is Surreal Ideal. Hill fan even wider up the inside. PJ Lou and traffic issues for Wicked Character, 122-1, 26-4 backside. It's Celtic Spirit with the lead. Art Attack has had the trip. Racing Rebel is there. Surreal Ideal starting to kick in gear. Lou Hill having to navigate traffic. It's Celtic Spirit. Art Attack inside, outside. Racing Rebel is digging in as they come to the wire. Art Attack over Celtic Spirit. Racing Rebel, Surreal Ideal, and I believe Lou Hill 149-1.
It was the 9 Art Attack. Looked like a big number, Gabe, that got up here in the final stages to get the victory.
Yeah, he was stepping up tonight. I think he was an absolute huge price, Chris. And he's got that good tactical speed, so he can kind of create his own luck. He got the follow, a live horse here in Celtic Spirit. The favorite Racing Rebel was forced first up there and had to do battle, so it was a perfect trip. And how about this? The horse was off a win last out. Still a huge price back tonight to get it done.
Man, I'm not sure about that price. I saw a huge number there. We'll find out what that price was. It was a massive, massive long shot. There you see the winner's circle there from race number 5 at the Meadowlands, and it was that man Dexter Dunn getting the job done there on Sabonis.
Yeah, we've seen Dexter, out of horse's feet in the paddock so far, out of shoe rechange. We've seen him out of the bike, adjusting equipment on the track. And now we see him in the winner's circle after waiting a $230,000 stake. And this was sort of the step forward I was looking for Sabonis. Big-time effort tonight. He's now 18 of 24 in his career, and that was by far a career best time, 147-3. So nice win, and excited to see him continue on with a nice stake schedule this summer.
Jess Otten with plenty more thoughts from that driver, Dexter Dunn.
Sabonis takes a graduate final for the older Pacers, the 4-year-old Open Pacers. A new lifetime mark, 147-3. This guy, we knew what he was at 3, Dexter, obviously with that tremendous mark that he had there. What's been the week-to-week with him?
Yeah, I think he's just, Brett's just taking a little bit of time to figure him out. I had a couple steering issues there, but, his run last week was, proved he was on the right track, and he started showing his ability of what he had last year at Indiana there. So, he just felt great tonight. Brett really had him dialed in for the final.
Let's talk about the trip. Obviously, the horse to your inside has a lot of gate speed. A couple of the favorites to your outside wanted to leave as well. A little bit of traffic up the backside, but this guy was all game.
Yeah, absolutely. We had the good draw, Jess, and we had to use it, and we knew there'd be speed, as there should be. And, we got the front. I was happy to handle Louis, but his horse just didn't have really had the go tonight. So, and this guy was travelling so good. And, when I asked him to kick up the straight, to his credit, he really dug deep and put a hell of a mile in.
Nice job. Real quick question, Captain Optimistic in that pace prep. How do you feel going into that pace prep?
Yeah, they're really happy with him. Hopefully everything's on song for next week, and we can get a good mile in tonight. So, it'd be good though for him to prove his worth.
Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thanks, Jess.
There you have it, Sabonis. That's a new lifetime mark in that graduate pace final, 147-3. Brett Belling, Dexter Dunn teaming up. Back to you guys.
Gabe, it's a long season there for the Pacers and the Trotters, but as far as drivers, Dexter Dunn continues to do it day in and day out, and there's just those little split-second decisions that he makes that you think give him just a little bit more of that edge and more wins when they get there on the track.
Yeah, I thought, even taking a look at the race, we all thought the 6 and 10 were going to be in a shootout in the opening turn. Well, that wasn't quite the case. The pace wasn't quite as lively, Chris, as we expected. I think Dexter, since that, he went back to the lead, and really the winning move here was made not only making that move, but when he parked Nijinsky out. He had a decision to make right there. He could have released Nijinsky and decided to follow for an easier trip, or he could have just went all in right there. Well, guess what? He put his cards on the table. He parked Nijinsky, and it pays off tonight with a big stakes win.
Yeah, it depends on the trip, and you picked it right on this night, right? 9-2, you cut a nice little return there, and you said those were the 4 main contenders, and that trifecta came back very nice.
Huge, nearly $300 with all the logicals there. Big time payout there. Hopefully you cashed in race number 5 at the Big M.
One of your favorite wagers coming up, right? That pick 4. It's race number 6.
My absolute favorite, Chris. You know that, and I've got a play here, and we're going to take a couple of shots to really try and create some value through this sequence as well. You can see this open trot is up next. I'm going to go 3 deep here in the open trot. Going to use the 5 outside the fire. I think that, that's a horse that's going to be part of the early, pace scenario. Chapper Craze is a horse that had some traffic trouble last time. His line, he was 7th. Believe me, much better than that. He had nowhere to go. He was splitting it between horses in a tough way. And then Ari Ferrari J, young Brett Beckwith, who's actually based here out of the Saratoga area. The bike, 22 years old. So I think that he'll leave in there, be a big part of it as well. You see that ticket 4 deep going in race 7. That's the other graduate, Chris. $230,000 final. You know what? We're going to have a huge favorite there in private access. I am against private access tonight. I think the pace here is just going to be a little bit too taxing on him. I've used several here. Date Night Hanover, one of 3 mares in the race. She starts from post 2. They pulled the shoes tonight. I think that she could be very good. They did that 2 starts back when she was second, beating only a neck. Highland Kismet recently moved the trader at Nancy Tactor's barn. He's been better. They're still working on some issues there. Very similar to Sabonis, who we just saw win that last out. I think they're going to get him figured out, so I think he's got a shot there for Dexter Dunn. 8-1 on the morning line. Also tossed on Gruesome Twosome, another Nancy Tactor tradie that recently moved over. And how about the 10 Elisa Hanover? She's another one of the mares. Just missed last week at 22-1. She's going to need a lively pace scenario, but I think we're going to get it in that race. So 4 deep, and then you'll see on 3 deep they're moving forward. The 2, 3, and 4. That's that Meadowlands Race preview. So I used a couple of the favorites in that spot. And Chris, I absolutely love my slam dunk single. How about 6-1 on the morning line, my friend? 9th race tonight, Maxim Hanover. All sorts of traffic trouble. He could not get through last week. He was overloaded. He's my best bet of the night. So, of course, we're going to tee him up as a single there in tonight's pick 4.
You know, you called me money bags last week. What, an $18 play? What happened? $9 and hit the repeat over.
We can hit the repeat button plenty of times. You know that.
We're going to take a look at some action from next week when we come back. Meadowlands Pace and Blueprint. Talk about plenty more on America's Day at the Races. Come on back.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got them. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at nairabets.com.
Whether you maintain a food plot on the weekends, tend to a small herd of livestock, or work in professional landscaping, New Holland's family of Workmaster and Boomer compact tractors at Clinton Tractor can get the job done. Known for delivering outstanding value for their performance, these reliable, powerful, and easy to operate New Holland compact tractors will help you tackle your to-do list while being easy on your wallet.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. Beautiful shot there of the Meadowlands, East Rutherford, New Jersey. Looks like a gorgeous night out there as well, and we've got plenty of great racing action coming. The Meadowlands Pace, of course, it drew a little bit earlier today, and Gabe, just kind of early thoughts here taking a look at that field of 10.
Well, Blueprint's the horse to beat. He won the North America Cup, as we know. He qualified there. We saw going to break there last out. He was second this morning, but you know he's the horse to beat. We'll take a look back at his North America Cup victory here, and this was just a gutsy win, Chris. I mean, he had to fend off a big long shot there on the outside in Dandy Ideal. He had a big long shot sitting on his back, by the way, Madden Oaks. How unlucky is Madden Oaks? He drew post 10 of the Pepsi North America Cup here for $1 million. He drew post 10 for the Meadowlands Pace next Saturday night. You'll see him try to sneak through down at the inside, but Blueprint was hard used here. I mean, take a look at these fractions. 53 and 1.5, 119 and 1. So, I mean, he is all in at this point, but as you could expect through those torrid fractions, but he just wins this on guts alone. Refused to lose. And I think right now he's just clearly the top 3-year-old pacing colt in the sport. We'll see the second choice in action a bit later here on this show tonight. Canton Optimistic at a Meadowlands Pace preview. He obviously is another one that's going to get a little attention, but I think all that attention deservedly around Blueprint.
Yeah, big money on the line, and looking forward to that Meadowlands Pace, which will be next week. We'll be covering all that great action, of course, and that all leads up to the Hamiltonian, of course, on August 2nd.
Hamiltonian, 100th Hamiltonian, $1 million their first Saturday in August. Always a cool event. It's always a fun day at the Big M. The only early post day of the year at the Big M there with noon first post. Going to be huge. But Meadowlands Pace, first things first, Chris. Biggest party in harness racing next Saturday night.
All right, looking forward to that. Looking forward to a post parade here. Race number 6 at the Meadowlands. There is the one.
Celebrity Bambino was actually the morning line favorite in the 2023 Hamiltonian, but ended up beating there. That was your tactical approach one. A little bit of an outsider, not quite as sharp, just 1 for 7 this season at the age of 5.
All right, taking a look at the number 2 here. SIP or SIP?
SIP.
All
SIP.
right.
5 starts this year, no wins. Decent 4th last out. Still seems to be a bit of a fringe player.
Number 3, Joe Bongiorno, the Pappardelle.
Yeah, has not raced since December the 19th. Good recent qualifier, but hard to be race ready when you've missed that much time in the sport of harness racing.
The number 4 is going to be French Wine.
French Wine, $1.2 million earner here. The 5-year-old, good-looking set of bar hopping. Comes off a nice win, but steps up tonight a little bit deep water that he'll be facing.
Number 5 is going to be Outside the Fire, another mid-range price.
I think he's got a shot. I think he's going to leave in this spot tonight for Jonathan Ali. I think that he'll track very closely to the tempo. I do give him a puncher's chance.
Number 6 is resolved to win, Tim Tetrick.
Coming off a break in stride for this guy at the Chestnut, Chris. I just don't know how aggressive Tim Tetrick can be on the bike off that.
2 main contenders, it looks like. There's Chapper Crass.
Yeah, but traffic trouble last out. Finished 7th, but believe me, much better than that line indicates.
And right next door, Ari Ferrari.
And how about that guy? He looks like a true professional on the racetrack, Chris. Look at him right up on the muscle, ready to go for young 22-year-old Brett Beckwith. Had a tough trip last out, but a winner here at the open level, 2 starts back.
There you see the field for today's 6th race. It's right around the corner here, and we're going to have plenty more from Jess as she's going to be still trackside covering all the great action. And we've got Jess right now. Tell us about today's 6th.
Always love an open field of open trotters, I guess I should say, and a good field that we have here. I think the 2 horses to beat come from the outside of the gate, like you guys had mentioned, Chapper Craze and Ari Ferrari. I'm going to use Ari Ferrari on top. He's 9-5 right now from post 8. He did have a tough trip last time out, I guess you could say. You know, I talked to Brett after the race. He wanted to leave with them. He didn't think that many horses would leave to his inside, and then he just, you know, he had a good, toe into the race in what looked like one of the horses, Get a Wish, was going to kind of continue to tow him, and didn't quite work out that way. So maybe tonight he can just leave aggressively and get the front, or duck in there a little bit. Parked every step of the way last time out, got a little tired. What I do like, though, is that he is coming into the race with fresh legs. So instead of putting him right back in the box last week, they gave him a week off to kind of freshen up, and he really never looked himself either. You go back and watch that race, he didn't look comfortable. I don't know if he tied up or what, but he just never looked himself. He looks a lot better tonight. I just saw him scoring down. So I'm going to try him again on top. He's been super sharp. He likes the Big M. And I think that the Big M's leading driver, Brett Beckwith, has been a really, really nice addition to him. So I think they get along great. They're 8-5 right now, so it's hard to say that you're going to get any sort of a value in them. It's going to be tough to beat as well. That's Chapper Craze from the Ron Burke barn. No luck really in that Crawford Farms trot. Maybe a tad bit overmatched. He's a nice open trotter, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he can go at the top of the top in the sport. He was a winner 3-back in the Open down at Harrah's, Philadelphia, on their Super Sunday day they had down there. 151-4 effort, 27-4 at the end of it. This guy's plenty versatile. He does a lot of his better work when he's forwardly placed off the game, so I would assume that's what Purple would do. Be forwardly placed from post 7. Then I use French Wine as well underneath. This is a son of bar hopping for Team Orange Crush. Lightly raced last year, 8 starts. He had 3 wins, made over $200,000. And then this year he's got 3 starts under his belt so far. He's been a little bit of a question mark, maybe coming into the race. A couple of qualifiers. Last year, the last time we saw him was in the Hamiltonian Maturity, where he was parked every step of the way just to get beaten there at the wire, a neck by Chapper Craze late in the mile, and then we didn't see him after that. So something went amiss with him towards the last part of his season, the later part of his season. He's been racing down at Harrah's, Philadelphia. He was a winner last time out. I do like to see that. He's been consistently trotting in 53 and change. He gets a good post to work with, and I actually watched him warm up about an hour ago, and I thought he looked very well. Nice, calm, and relaxed. He looks good right now on the racetrack as well. So I'll use him underneath, as well as SIP. Now, this is a horse that set a track record or world record, I believe, at Delaware in his 3-year-old season. Went overseas for a while, and he's back. He's been racing in some deep ends of the water. Last time out, he was 4th when Ari Ferrari and Sir Pinocchio were going at it late in the mile. He trotted in 50-4, 26-4 at the end of it. He's having some sneaky late trot. I think there's a lot of hidden form coming into the race with him. He's offering some nice price as well at 9-1. And then you never really know what you're going to get from Celebrity Bambino. I think he's one worth offering, too. He's 8-1 on the board. Lightly raced last year. He had an issue in the beginning part of his season, so he's kind of just really getting his feet back under himself as well. He's got Yannick Gingras back on the bike tonight, and he's offering good prices. So I just think it's going to be tough to beat the 8-5 right now on Ari Ferrari. Chapper Craze right to his inside, too. So It's going to be 8-7-4-2 for me in the open trot. Always love the open trot. How do you guys see it from the desk?
Thank you very much, Jess. And taking a look at this field for race number 6. And Gabe, taking a look at it, outside of the 8-5, everybody seems kind of that mid-range price. Yes, 3-1 on Chapper Craze, but then everybody else sitting at that 7-1, 8-1, 9-1. Is it just that the bettors can't really make a decision on kind of that next tier?
It just speaks to the depth of this field, Chris. This is the top overnight class, open, so it doesn't really matter how much money you've made in. You can still fit it, even if you've been having some success. So, yeah, I think it speaks, everyone out there, they're just not willing. They're not willing to dismiss any of these horses, based on their great resumes over the seasons at too big of a price. You do see Ari Ferrari J. That's my top pick as well, as we had spoken about. Just a tough trip there last out. I think at the end of the day, Brett tries to get this guy to the lead. I do think that, he is the one to beat it here. I don't think he's invincible in this spot, but I do give him a slight edge in this group. But as you said, it's a tough group. You'll see I'm 3 deep to kick off the pick 4. The other horse, the 7 Chapper Craze, coming out of the Crawford Farms trot that we saw here on this broadcast last week. Again, his line, Chris, doesn't look great. Finished 7th, but he had nowhere to go. He was out in the middle in between horses. He's coming off a 4-year-old season where he made over $500,000 for trainer Ron Burke. How about his driver, Dave Miller, 60 years old, almost 15,000 career wins. He's the 2nd leading money-winning driver in the history of harness racing, behind only John Campbell. He's at $294 million. John Campbell retired several years back at $299 million. So I think, Dave stays healthy, keeps picking up these big stakes assignments and the big dances, a big chance to become the leading money-winning driver of all time.
With the 7 and the 8 taking a lot of the action towards the outside, and we talked about those mid-range prices. Number 5, Outside the Fire, why did you land there as far as one of those mid-range, these 9-1 shots to end up on your ticket?
Yeah, I just think that, last time he raced very well. He took back, and he was forced 3 wide around the far turn. That's just a tough move to make at the Meadowlands. He was 63-1, by the way. At the end of the day, he was third beating just a couple of lengths. I think that, there's not a tremendous amount of early speed inside of him here. I think that Jonathan Onley's going to take a shot to leave the gate here. And I just think if he was to leave out and say he gets a perfect trip, and when I say that, perhaps drafting, on the back of the 7 or 8, and hoping to shake loose and have a little luck late. I just think he's got a much liver chance if we can get him out there and get him in position than that odds board would indicate right now. He's flirting with double digits.
All right, we'll see what happens here. It does start that pick 4. Hopefully you've gotten involved wherever you are. Is this a repeat button night game?
Oh,
here?
absolutely. $18. We can't just do that. We're repeat.
Last week it was $9.
Well, that's right.
More in my price
we
range.
Repeated that one about double the amount of times we did tonight, by the way. So hopefully we end up with a smile on our face after this sequence here tonight. But again, my best bet's the last leg of that pick 4. I love the 3 in race 9. We'll just hope we're dancing when we get to him.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you are as well, joining us and watching all this great action. Jess has got her selections in, Gabe's in, and hopefully you guys are involved as well. Race number 6, Ken Workington will have the call. Is it as simple as a 7 and the 8 towards the outside? Chapper Crass, price coming down, sitting at 5-2, but your favorite is Ari Ferrari J.
5-2, the 7 Chapper Craze. 8-1 in the 4 French Wine. Trotters on gate. The field picks up speed. Race 6, here they come. And they're off and trotting. Chapper Craze eager to fire hard. So is Resolve to Win, who trots out of there smartly. French Wine between them and Celebrity Bambino on the rail into the top 4. Around that first turn, Outside the Fire, stride for stride there, as cutting the corner was SIP on him. At the rear, we find Pappardelle, and the early trailer is Ari Ferrari J at 8-5. At the opening quarter, it's Chapper Craze at 6-5 for the Buckeye. Dave Miller in a hot 26-4. Chapper Craze churns out the trot on the engine across the backstretch. Resolve to Win in for the pocket ride. Celebrity Bambino is 3rd. It's French Wine biding his time 4th. SIP is 5th. And then comes Outside the Fire. Gap at 2-3 to Pappardelle. Another 2 more to Ari Ferrari J yet to get going. Single file at the half, and Chapper Craze and Dave Miller calls the shots there. 54-4 for Chapper Craze on the wire-to-wire mission. Resolve to Win a perfect trip so far. Celebrity Bambino 3rd and French Wine is 4th. SIP 5th on the inside with 3/8 to go. Then it's Outside the Fire underway from the rear of the field. Ari Ferrari J with a long way to come. Stride for stride with Pappardelle. Chapper Craze going well in front by 2, 2 1/4. Resolve to win, trotting in second. Celebrity Bambino fresh off the cones. French Wine is fourth and SIP is fifth. 3/4, 1:23 into the stretch drive. Chapper Craze looking to go all the way in front by a length and a half. His strides are shortening though, trying to squeeze through. Resolve to win is blocked with trot. Celebrity Bambino shakes loose late. Then here is SIP towering up late on the outside, who explodes with trot. SIP and Matthias Melander. Then Chapter Craze, Celebrity Bambino, and Resolve to win. SIP in 1:50.3.
Matthias Melander gets it done there. Tips towards the outside here and goes to the lane. And just you take a look at the number 7 at Chapter Craze. Couldn't hold off the charge here from the 2 SIP.
This was the stretch that just never would end, Chris, for those of us that needed the 7 Chapter Craze. And yes, what a good effort here from SIP. So horse that Jess mentioned, he started his career here stateside, made $500,000, but last year he actually went over and raced in Sweden. So he's back in the U.S., his first win since returning.
SIP. We'll be looking forward to a pick 3 when we come back on America's Day at the Races.
Now's the time to subscribe to the Naira Bets YouTube channel. Join Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro for stakes previews, in-depth analysis, and handicapping strategy and tutorials. Subscribe to and like Naira Bets on YouTube.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Back here on America's Day at the Races, Sciota Downs. Race number 10, Next Gen, is coming up. 2-year-old filly trot, 1 mile, $150,000, a field of 8. In race number 9, we saw a massive, massive long shot at 80 to 1. Not going to quite see that. I don't think we're going to see a price in that range, but we got that 2-year-old filly trot coming up.
Yeah, really nice one here with the Next Generation. As we mentioned, this is a buy-in type race, Chris. So horses, they're beginning to start selling these slots in April 15th. It's just $8,000 if you want to take a shot then. If it doesn't fill, you can buy it in May. The price goes up a bit, $10,000. If it still doesn't fill, by the way, $12,000 in June. So a lot of these horses making this their first or second career starts. Really, potentially a look at some of the next superstars of the sport here with $150,000 on the line.
All right, we'll find out plenty more. We've got some future superstars, maybe. Jenna Otten with plenty at Sciota Downs.
This is what we wait for all winter long. You pluck these yearlings out of the sales October, November, some sales even in September. You break them down, you train them down, you get a feel for them, and now we're at the races. Most of these guys have a few qualifiers under their belts, but you don't really know what you have under the hood till we get to the races, especially when there's a buy-in fee. Gabe kind of went over the process of that. Now there's $150,000 on the line here. It's very competitive, and it's tough to handicap the 2-year-olds. Like I said, you don't really know what you have till we're at the races here. I'm going to swing with a little bit of a price here. Dominic Nico, Irv Miller, Atlee Bender send out to this daughter of In Range. It's the first crop of In Range now that we're going to see here in Ohio. He's 1 for 1 with the start in the Kentucky Sire Stakes down there in Oak Grove, a dual eligible daughter of In Range. 2 good qualifiers over at Hoosier Park, and like I said, a good start for this filly. Again, it's tough for me to handicap these 2-year-olds, but I cannot find a way around the 3-horse in here. Little interesting facts here on the 5. Speed Be With You. Todd Luther, the trainer on this filly by Mission Accepted. 2 qualifiers under the Chris Beaver barn. They private purchased her at a value of $210,000. She went right into the next generation. Austin Hanners at the controls. He went to the farm prior this week, trained the filly, had nothing but good things to say about her. He's just 26 years of age, so we talk about the next generation. He is a up-and-coming rising star. He's the 2nd youngest driver to go behind the gate tonight for the next generation. His brother Luke, the youngest, at 24. Another horse that I'm curious to see is Gadusa. That's a Nancy Tactor trainee, currently the 6-5 favorite. Had a chance to text Nancy, 2 qualifiers for this filly, both of them at the Meadowlands. I asked her, you see that mistake on the program there? Should have said my dad said that it was his fault. He pushed her too much, and she was already trotting her max. She was super in the 2nd qualifier, and it was the fastest qualifier of the day that day at the Meadowlands, and there was a million, she said. 57-3. You slot in Dave Pallone in the bike here, the winningest driver ever in the sport. And, this filly's bred by Ready for Money, who Nancy raced as a 2, 3, and 4-year-old. He was 2nd in the Hamiltonian, another sire that we are super excited to see here in the state of Ohio. And another trainer we don't often see here in Ohio, that will be Marcus Melander. He sent the 2 out in here, 7-1 on Set Your Sights High. A 2nd place finish in her career debut, also down in Oak Grove. I also had a chance to catch up with him. He said she's a nice filly. Obviously just raced 1 time, but finished up good in that race. Should be a little sharper here tonight. He also trained In Range, and that's kind of how he acquired this filly. He wanted to buy one. They saw her at the sale. He liked her. He plucked her out of Lexington for $50,000. So a few trainers that we don't often see here with Ohio breds that you guys are familiar with. Marcus Melander sends out the 2. Nancy Tactor sends out the 4. As they get ready to roll here, go behind the gate for the first division of the next generation. $150,000 on the line. Barry Vickroy will have your call.
Demonic Nico, Gadusa. Speed Be With You, Roseron Brook. Mooter Tutor and on the outside. Tomboy Strong. Field of 8 are at the gate for the 10th from Sciota Downs. The $150,000 next generation 2-year-old filly trot. Here they go. Here, off the end at Trotting Speed Be With You. We'll get the first call just to her inside. Gadusa, good start. Off stride went Roseron Brook in at the rail. Range of the Wish away in 4th. Set Your Sights High. Backing off 5th into the turn. Demonic Nico will be followed by Tomboy Strong. Then Mooter Tutor and down trotting but trailing the field. Roseron Brook. They make their way around the turn and on over to the quarter. Dave Pallone and Gadusa show the way. Racing in 2nd, Speed Be With You. Range of the Wish is their 3rd. Quarter 28-3. 4th is Set Your Sights High for Wilder. Then Demonic Nico, followed by Tomboy Strong. Mooter Tutor in the trailer. Roseron Brook at the tail end as they pass the stands. 8-5 favorite. Gadusa leads the way. Speed Be With You tripping out. Range of the Wish is their 3rd. Set Your Sights High is next. She'll be flushed to the outside and on the move by Demonic Nico. Tomboy Strong is out in third over. Up the inside, saving ground. Motor Tudor and the trailer Rose Run Brook, the half 59-1. Palone stole the second quarter, 30-3. In that second split, they start down the backstretch. It's Gadusa now by 2. Speed Be With You tightening back in is still second. Range the Wish third. Set Your Sights High on the outside is fourth. She'll pick up cover as they head towards three quarters and be second over. To the inside, Motor Tudor continuing to save ground and advance. And off stride went Gadusa while on the lead. Gadusa went off stride, so benefiting and taking over. Range the Wish outside, Set Your Sights High. Speed Be With You still has the pocket now for it. Demonic Nico. Then it is Motor Tudor. Tomboy Strong. Rose Run Brook, three quarters was 128-1, 29 flat backside. Range the Wish on the outside. Set Your Sights High is digging in. They drive for the wire. Demonic Nico outside, inside. Speed Be With You is trying to close. Set Your Sights High and Mike Wilder win the Next Generation 2-year-old filly trot in 1:56-3.
And an action-packed race there as we saw race number 10, and it ended up being the number 2, Set Your Sights High. Mike Wilder getting the victory there, but plenty to talk about in that race game.
Yeah, Nick, keep in mind, we do see that inquired post, and they're going to take a look at the action here. But again, horses just beginning their careers. That was the second career start here for Set Your Sights High. We got off a decent 9-2 price here with the winner, but Gadusa, was just leisurely rolling along on the lead, Chris, and again, these horses are just not accustomed to racing just yet. They're very green and not sure what happened there. All of a sudden, she just lost her stride, and all new to her. She's out there rolling alone, and she just, for whatever reason, maybe her mind got off track, and ultimately jumped it off there, which really opened things up quite a bit.
Is that something that we'll see commonly in these types of races, in these trots, that they start to get out there in front, and they don't quite know what's going on? They start to be thinking about things a little bit. It's kind of like they're a lone customer out there. Is that something you'll see pretty often?
Yeah, I think with the 2-year-old trotters in particular, Chris, because they're doing something they've never done before in their career. That's racing under the lights. You can have a couple of qualifiers in the morning that are like essentially the workouts for the thoroughbreds. But when you saw everyone coming to the gate so cautiously in that race, there were 2, 3, 4 lengths off. Everyone's, trying to keep their charge as calm as possible as they begin their racing career. Again, it's all new to these guys. Sciota Downs, you have a big crowd out there on track as well. You're under the lights. It's just a completely new experience, and that's what you're going to see from time to time.
Yeah, as the night presses on, the action continues to heat up, and we saw there, Set Your Sights High get the job done. The number 2, Mike Wilder, over at Sciota. Over at the Meadowlands, it's a family affair. All kinds of fun going on trackside, and right there in the winner's circle as well.
Well, how about that? Marcus Melander, who we saw win at the Meadowlands on SIP at 9-1. Boy, he just won the Next Generation as a trader there, so I'm sure he was at the Meadowlands probably watching that event on his phone with Set Your Sights High. So a couple of upsetters at different tracks there by trader Marcus Melander. His brother Matthias Melander, as we had mentioned there in the bike SIP, a big-time improvement, Chris. Again, that was a horse that returned from Sweden. That's the best we've seen him look since returning stateside.
Really enjoy the number 2 hole there. So taking a look at the graduate final coming up, race number 7 at the Meadowlands, 4-year-old open trot, 1 mile. Another big, nice purse there, $230,000 and a full field of 10.
This is a very good group right here. 4-year-olds, you've got 3 mares. You've got, or I should say, a total of 3 mares in this field. That would be the 2, the 8, and the 10. We've got some shoeing changes to note. We've got a barn change of the 4 Amazing Catch. There's a lot that goes into this race. A couple of project-type horses here as well. Again, it's not a race I had a particularly strong opinion on, Chris. One thing I do think, though, Private Access, not to take anything away from him, he's a nice trotter. He's 3 for 3 this year back at the age of 4. I just think that he is going to really have to lay down some serious fractions if he tries to go to the lead here, and I think that ultimately could catch up with him at the late stages. So this is one favorite that I'm going to try to take a stand to beat.
All right, you feel like a vulnerable favorite here with the number 5 Private Access. We're going to have that plenty more when we come back from our break here on America's Day at the Races. We got all kinds of great racing action still ahead, as we're only halfway done. We'll have plenty more.
For years now, Monmouth Park's 50-cent Win Early Pick 5 has helped players win early and often. This year, we're adding more. Monmouth Park's new Middle Pick 5 boasts a player-friendly 15% takeout and more opportunity to score. Start your day winning early. Continue to winning more. Play Monmouth Park's Win Early and Middle Pick 5s. First post 12:50 weekends, 2 p.m. Fridays.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? you bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program in Oxford, New York was created in 2018 by Wanda Palacini to provide training to transition for finding homes and new careers for horses. Horses are started with groundwork and then ridden in an arena before moving on. Horses at Purple Haze are then evaluated and adopted out based on abilities and temperament. If you have a horse that you care about, or if you are looking for a great pleasure horse, contact Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program at 518-669-2715.
Back here on America's Day at the races. Outriders enjoying the fun there, huh, Gabe?
Yeah,
Over the
like
middle?
a good, well-dressed as well here for the holiday festivities.
Yeah, happy 4th of July. We didn't even say that yet, right? Happy 4th of July weekend to all those folks out there. We got race number 7 coming up. Nice post parade. Big number. Security protected, the 1.
Shoes off tonight, but still looks like a little bit of an uphill battle.
And there's the 2 coming up here shortly. That's Date Night, Hanover, Scotty Z.
Shoes off for her tonight as well. She was very good with the shoes off last out. Marcus Melander trains both the 1 and 2, Chris. That's the barn we've seen win the last 2 races here at the show.
And there is the 2 that we were just mentioning. And your man, Dexter Dunn, everybody's man right now, right? Top driver in the world, maybe? Dexter Dunn here on the 3, Highland Kismet.
Horse Nancy Tactor took over here at the age of 4. Still trying to figure him out. Comes off a very good qualifier. Could go a big mile tonight.
Todd McCarthy here, the 4, Amazing Catch.
Barn change. Debuts for Trader Linda Toscano. Adds Lasix. Bit of a wild card.
Currently at 2-1. You felt vulnerable, Private Access.
He's 3 for 3 as a 4-year-old, but yes, I think it's going to be his toughest task today.
Pinocchio, Sir Pinocchio, the 6.
Yeah, tough trip last time. Flattened out a bit late. Good early speed.
Yannick Gingras on the 7.
Another one that debuted for Trainer Nancy Tactor at 4. He's had just a couple of starts for the new barn, but 12 of 17 at 3. I still think that's a horse that is going to be on the improve as well.
Here's the 8, Wari Michelle.
Shoes off, but not a lot of early speed. Might leave herself just a little too much to do from post number 8.
Brett Beckwith here, the 9, big number.
Bomb in this spot, I think, would take a giant effort to try and get a slice.
And the 10 to the outside, Alyssa Hanover.
Absolutely flying last out. She missed just a half a length, Chris. She was home in 26 and 3, that being her final quarter time. She's going to be a long shot. She is going to need a very lively pace scenario, and who knows, that big money on the line tonight, she just may get it.
Will we see that lively pace scenario? Will we see a hot pace? And will that do Private Access in here in this upcoming 7th as we see this field getting ready, and you see the big numbers on the line, and we've taken a look at this field. But do you see the pace setting up the way that you're talking about?
Yeah, I do. Well, because I think, this is the one race that a lot of these horses have been pointing towards. With, they've had the legs of the graduate leading up. They go for 50,000, 75,000 a leg. Well, this is what these 4-year-olds have been shooting for. And as we said, it's sort of the last age-restricted race these horses are going to race in against their own age at 4. After this, they're going to have to graduate on up and go against some veteran horses, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. So I think it's, going to be one of some of their last chances to take, a big shot, knock off a big win here for a lot of money. And I just think that we're going to see a very lively flow. Private Access has a very good post here, with plenty of options for a Canadian-based driver, Louis Philippe Bois. Again, he's razor sharp, 3 for 3 and 2 tonight. But again, I just think he's going to have to work really, really hard tonight. And I think that could be to his detriment if he gets a lot of pressure early. I just think somebody could pick him up late.
Jess, you heard Gabe's thoughts. What do you think here going into race number 7?
Well, I do definitely echo a few things that Gabe said as well. I did pick Private Access on top because I just think he's continuing to grow and go forward with each race under his belt. He's mentioned he is 3 for 3 so far this season. He does get a good post to work with as well, so I'll use him on the top of my ticket. But there's a lot of different things coming into this race, a lot of different question marks, and a very, very good betting board as well. You guys touched on a lot of no shoes tonight. The 1, 2, 8, and 9 are all no shoes. Highland Kismet's actually going to race without the trotting hobbles. He qualified much, much better last time out without the trotting hobbles as well. But I really like Date Night Hanover underneath in this spot. She's 4 to 1 on the board. She's one of the only mares in the race. That first outing up at Mohawk, she made a break there at the 3/4 pole. She was actually 8 to 1 that night too, so she was taking plenty of money on the board. Then she shipped back down home. Both of those graduate starts at the Big M I thought were very good, both from good posts. She was beating a neck 2 back, trotting home extremely strong. Lots of trot through the wire, not just to the wire, which is something I always like to see, just getting beaten by Private Access. And then, of course, last time out, she was in the outer flow. She trotted in 50 and 4, home 27 and 1. Private Access, again, was the one that beat her in that spot as well. 7 to 2 right now on her. I think Scott Zeron has been a nice fit for her. And I use another fit mare underneath as well. That's the 10, Elista Hanover. She's 0 for 4 on the season so far this year. She was 12 wins from 18 starts last year. She was actually that big favorite heading into the Hamiltonian Oaks last year. She ended up being sick in that event, so her best foot wasn't forward in that event. She tried the Miss Versatility here at the Big M, just beating a nose to Dial Square, who actually ended up winning the Armbro Flight Final. And she scratched out of the Armbro Flight Final, elicited to come back home and race in the graduate to gather some points. She came flying home to finish 4th, 26 and 3. And then you really have to go back and watch that replay last time out on the 21st of June there. She got a good early position, and then she was shuffled to 7th on the rail when there were a whole host of them turning for home. She got out, trotted home in 26 and 3, a 50 and 2 effort there. She's got a lot of late trot. I think her best attribute is to chase them down. And to echo what Gabe said about Private Access, if he tries to put too heavy of fractions on up front, I think he can get gunned down, and I think she could be one of them to do it. I think Date Night Hanover could be one of them to do it as well. And I think the other question mark is in here is Highland Kismet. We saw what this guy could do last year at the age of 3. The son of Father Patrick, a newer addition to the Nancy Tactor barn this season. 8 wins from 17 starts last year. He was second behind Carl in that Hamiltonian. Made a break in his first outing in May and the preferred at Mohawk. Came back here, qualified, looked so good until he ended up going off stride late in the stretch. Then she said that she thought the trotting hobbles were just a little too tight, so she let him out. And then he ended up going off stride again in the first turn of that next leg of the graduate. Time off, qualified him. She just took the trotting hobbles completely off. And sometimes you see that because the horse needs to reach their full potential in the strides. I know a lot of times we see trotting hobbles go on the horses, maybe to help them gain some confidence in their stride. But sometimes they don't need them. They just need to really stride out. He looks great on the track, and he's just honestly a beautiful specimen. This was Dexter Dunn's choice in here over the 4, Amazing Catch. He's been his regular pilot, and Amazing Catch goes into a new barn of Linda Toscano after being 0 for 3 in his 4-year-old season. Stan Bernstein, Graduate Series final, 4-year-old open trot. 2 to 1 lukewarm favorite is the 5, Private Access. Will he remain perfect in his 4-year-old season? Up next, Ken Workington has the call.
Here at 4 to 1, the 2 Date Night Hanover, 5 to 1, 3 Highland Kismet. Also at 4 to 1 here, 7 Gruesome Twosome. On gate 7th race, the graduate final. Here they come. Often trotting Sir Pinocchio shoots out and goes for the lead. Private Access just floated away with Amazing Catch, and they race to the first turn as Gruesome Twosome is into the top 4, now 3rd and gaining on the outside. Then Highland Kismet is next in between horses, followed by Date Night Hanover. Left out there 3 deep is Elista Hanover, and caught between them Warwee Michelle and heavy traffic at the rear. Then Security protected next to last, and Mars Hill the trailer. 26 and 3, a torrid opening fraction for Gruesome Twosome. Looking for a second quarter breather here as Jingrot grabs in. Sir Pinocchio on the inside 2nd. Private Access off the speed, gains on the outside and looks for the lead. Highland Kismet 4th on the outside and gaining. Amazing Catch shuffled to 5th on the inside. Warwee Michelle to the outside 6th. A shuffle for Date Night Hanover on the inside. Then it's Elista Hanover at the rear of the field. Security protected, and Mars Hill still trailing half up in a solid 54 3/5. Private Access took the lead, but here is Highland Kismet taking it to him. Highland Kismet now with Private Access on the inside. Those two matching strides and trading blows, and just off them is War Wee Michelle off those dueling leaders in third. Gruesome Twosome gaps the pocket spot. Elista Hanover is fifth on the outside and needs to flip to the outside right now. Sir Pinocchio was shuffled and buried, stride for stride with security protected. They're at 3/4, and it's Private Access who needs to turn it on. 1:22 3 in the stretch. Private Access and Louis Wah. War Wee Michelle towers up late on the outside, and here comes Elista Hanover on the extreme outside. War Wee Michelle strikes the front. Elista Hanover on the outside, surging late. War Wee Michelle at 13-1. Okispan set upsets in the graduate over Elista Hanover. Private Access and security protected. War Wee Michelle, she does it in 1:50-2.
It's the number 8 in Warwee, Michelle, getting up there in the final stages. And Gabe, you were talking right about the half as you were watching the race, and Private Access really had to do a lot of the heavy lifting, a lot of the dirty work.
Yeah, it was just tough to know who was going to, collar him late. I thought that's sort of how it would play out there for the favorite, but Warwee Michelle, big effort tonight. Shoes off. She made nearly $500,000 at 3, but a couple of the mares go 1-2 with Elista Hanover. This was not the easiest of trips, Chris, for Warwee Michelle. She was out in the two-path the entire way, so obviously, she's just going to be traveling a little bit further distance. Now, she did have cover, meaning she was following another horse there in the outer flow, but again, not easy to be parked on the outside of the two-path to get it done. She comes up with a large effort here tonight.
Plenty more from that 7th race there at the Meadowlands, and there was race number 10, the winner of the Next Gen Filly Trot there, the number 2. Set Your Sights High. It was Mike Wilder who got the victory, and Jenna Otten, I know, got a chance to catch up with Mike Wilder after the race here as an $11 winner. 9-2 was your payout there on the 2 Set Your Sights High. Let's find out more of what Mike Wilder thought from today's 10th.
Joined here with winning driver of the Next Generation for 2-year-old filly trotters, Mike Wilder. How is that call with Marcus going? You get to sit behind her for the first time going for such big money.
Yeah, it was a tremendous opportunity. I'm glad he called on me, and what a nice filly she is.
Take us through the trip a little bit. It kind of got a little messed up, confusing down the backside there when the horse on the front, Gadusa, put in a few bad steps. You were really second over, but Aaron kind of left you first over once he was able to clear down to the rail.
Yeah, exactly right. Just how you said it. And, I was glad to get the cover. And then, unfortunately, the horse on the front ran for them. But it just kind of opened the door. Aaron cleared, left me a clear path to him, and my filly stepped up well. She was just professional as ever.
There was some horses to your inside. Speed be with you. Aaron had a little bit of go-to. Did you have some confidence turning for home with this filly?
Yeah, because anytime I was calling on her, you could just feel that step, and I didn't have to call on her a whole lot. She's just a pleasure and made my job easy.
You'll sit behind Swell C in the 2-year-old Colt Pace Next Generation, going for, again, $150,000. Kind of the same thing. You just get the call on it, and, this filly's trained by Jeff Nysonger. Maybe a little bit of background with him?
I don't have a whole lot of background. I know Jeff well, but really looks like a heck of a colt. First start looked really nice. Like I say, great chance here to, get an opportunity to drive a nice colt post 7. But, it's just a starting point. Anything can happen.
Mike, I'm glad you made the journey over as you picked up the win in the Next Generation. Best of luck there in the next with Swell C, and hope to see you back here.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jenna. And Mike Wilder, of course, getting the victory. Next Generation 2-year-old Colt Trot will be coming up 1 mile, $150,000 once again. Heavy favorite in here, Aaron Merriman on the number 6, Max the Mighty.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised is this short of a price. The horse has raced once, qualified once there at the Delaware County Fairgrounds, home of the Little Brown Jug. Went to Northfield from Post 8. Believe me, Chris, Post 8 to Northfield, no picnic. That's a half-mile track, meaning they go around it 2 full times. That's really in harness racing where the post makes a tremendous impact. When you're at a track like the Meadowlands with a mile track and a long home stretch, post less of a factor. But this horse from Post 8 blasted out of the gate, eventually made the lead after being carried 3 wide there and just cruised home 3 3/4 length winner. So he is 1 for 1 second start tonight. I just didn't see, from my perspective, that he towered over this group. They're a little bit too unknown still for me, so I'm going to dodge that at that short of a number, at least on Max the Mighty.
Yeah, you heard about professionalism there. Mike Wilder was talking about how professional Set Your Sights High was. Is that really what you're looking for from these 2-year-olds? You want to see them showing a little bit of that streak of professionalism.
No question. You want it to be an educational experience for them as well. I mean, obviously, a lot of money on the line. You want it to be not only educational, but to get a big part of it as well.
We're going to go back to school here, get plenty of education, more wagering opportunities. It's all coming up on the other side here on America's Day at the Races.
Preferred Equine Online has proven time and time again to be the industry's online provider, selling the highest price horses in all categories online, including racehorses, broodmares, yearlings, weanlings, and stallion shares. Full service, trusted and transparent. Contact Preferred for your online sales needs at www.preferredequineonline.com.
And welcome back to America's Day at the Races, live from Columbus, Ohio, here at Sciota Downs. The next division of the next generation for 2-year-old colt trotters are getting ready to go behind the gates here. I'm going to use the 5 Uncle Danny, the stables Uncle Danny. Jason McGinnis does the training. Anthony McDonald in the bike. This guy has 2 career starts, no worse than second so far. It was a winner in his maiden debut, 57-1. Interesting story here. The 8-horse, What Say You? Tyler Bates, Luke Hanners, they bought their spot about 30 minutes before the box closed. You could do that. They were looking for a spot. Somebody had one for sale. Ty Bates jumped on board here as his long Tom Gelding is 3 for 3 so far to kick off his freshman season. We'll send it up to Barry Vickroy with the call of the 2-year-old colt trot next generation.
Name Trace, Rose Run Boom, Uncle Danny, Max the Mighty, Rude Doodle, and on the outside, What Say You? A field of 8 moving up and moving in, and here they go. Here off the end of trotting, Max the Mighty went to fire, got a bit steppy. Big Ranger to the inside will roll up and take over early command. Driving center of the track, Uncle Danny. Racing away 4th, Rose Run Boom. Rose Run Banker is next, followed by Zane Trace. He came away 6th. As they make their way around the turn, Uncle Danny has gone off stride. At the rail, what say you? Trailer, Rude Doodell, Ronnie Gillespie, and Big Ranger taking past the opening quarter, 27 flat. Max the Mighty is there. Second, Rose Ron Boom is third. Fourth, Rose Ron Banker, followed by Zane Trace. Then what say you? Rude Doodell is next, and Uncle Danny is back down trotting at the back of the pack, single file as they race into the clubhouse turn. Big Ranger leading the way. Max the Mighty is there second. Rose Ron Boom looking him over from third. Then Rose Ron Banker, Zane Trace is waiting on the cover flow to go. What say you? Wants to save ground at the rail, followed by Rude Doodell and Uncle Danny, 57-1 for the half. 30 and 5th in the second quarter down the backstretch, and the tempo quickens. It's Big Ranger with the lead 2 on the outside. Rose Ron Boom. Max the Mighty inside. Rose Ron Banker starting to get in gear at the rail, saving ground. What say you? Zane Trace still looking for his best. Then Rude Doodell and Uncle Danny struggling with his gate trails, 125 and 2, 28 and 1 backside. Big Ranger by 2, 2 1/4 from Max the Mighty outside. Rose Run Boom. Rose Run Banker is fourth. He'll have to come 3 wide inside. What say you? They're off the turn and on their way home. Big Ranger with the lead by 2. Max the Mighty is all out. Ronnie Gillespie will do it 2 years in a row in the next generation 2-year-old colt trot. Big Ranger from Max the Mighty, Rose Ron Banker, and Rose Ron Boom. Stakes record, track record, 154.
Well, you heard it there from track announcer Barry Vickroy. It just seemed like this is a professional effort, dominating effort, and this is a nice horse.
Well, he really is. First start just off one qualifier. It was a convincing qualifier. Got off a nice 6-1 price as well. As you heard track announcer Barry Vickroy allude to, Ronnie Gillespie as a trainer driver won this event last year with what's shaken the next jet as well. He is notorious, Chris, for having his horses ready to go early, particularly in their 2-year-old seasons. He trains them down, I think, very aggressively. Roddy originally based out of Mississippi, but he's done great work there on the Ohio circuit. And he's got another very nice trotter here, again, who absolutely just cruised home. Asked for nothing whatsoever to an open length win.
Didn't look like many anxious moments there. That was very impressive there from Big Ranger. Taking a look at race number 7. There's your winner, Warren Michelle. Hockey Svanstead, trainer, owner, driver. So one for the home team, I guess, there as they get the job done. Nice return, too, 13-1 on the 8th.
Yeah, this was a very nice return and a nice exact here for a couple of those mares, paying nearly $300 for the $2 copy. $28 winner. Again, Warren Michelle, a filly that's been on the stakes trail throughout her career. She banks her first win at the age of 4, and it was a big one tonight with $230,000 on the line.
I tell you what, if you like private access in there in your trifecta, I mean, you get a nice return there, over $1,000.
Yeah, you really do. That was the type of horse, even though I thought he would get beat, I thought he would be somewhere, close there at the end. And at the end of the day, just, got used a bit hard there, gunned down late, but did hold there for a good, solid third-place finish.
You've heard our thoughts on the race. Let's throw it to Jess Otten for more with Hockey Svanstead. Their thoughts on today's 7th.
It's not always easy for the girls to face the boys, but she really showed what she was made of tonight.
Yeah, it was the first and second was mare, so that was good.
And talk about the trip a little bit. You never saw the rail, but she had a really strong burst turning for home.
Yeah, it was how I think before the race that I'm never going to see the rail, but I get a good trip, so I was happy for that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There you have it. Warwee Michelle takes the 4-year-old open trot. She beats the boys in 150-2 for Aki Svanstead.
Gabe, what I took from that interview there is Aki Svanstead knew that they had a real live shot in there. They felt like Warwee Michelle was coming into the race well and really delivered.
And you know what? He actually didn't want to get her covered up at all. He kept her out in that 2-path, Chris. He didn't want to duck to the inside. He just wanted to keep her at a spot where she could strike late there, and she stepped up in a big way. Again, it's not the easiest of trips when you're out there in the 2-path the entire way. The good thing for Aki and Warwee Michelle, she did have some cover there at the outer flow, but just not an easy trip. Had to do a lot of work there, but took full advantage. That's, as you said, he just wanted to keep her in the flow of the race.
An open pace coming up, 3-year-old, 1 mile. Kind of a shorter field. A field of 6, though, but where's the competition going to be coming from?
Well, we've got a big favorite here, Captain Optimistic. That was the horse that was just 4th in the $1 Million Pepsi North America Cup to Lou Prent. Of course, will headline next Saturday night's Meadowlands Pace. Raced well there. This was, a prep race. Some horses opted to prep tonight for that big money final next week. Some horses opted to sit out and rest up for next Saturday night. So I think Captain Optimistic clearly does seem to be like the one to beat at this spot. Get off that close fourth place effort. This was a horse that was the favorite in the Breeders' Crown last year. Unfortunately, finished up a little bit of a disappointing fourth in that event. But, one of the top 2-year-olds, no surprise to see him back taking a lot of action.
Yeah, we've got great pacing, trotting action, and we're of course in front of Saratoga right here behind us. And you had a quick little story that you're talking about Sciota Downs, right?
Yes, so we had Sponzato. Chris was the next generation winner for the 2-year-old Colt Trotters, the same division we just saw there back in 2023. Sponzato, owned by the Spartaners. Tom Durkin, one of the partners there. He was out of the track that night. It was really cool to see him. I actually did an interview him on the show that evening. So that was a trotter that did a lot of good work for some great folks. But Tom, he's one of us. That was what was so cool. He just had the track, living it up, having a good time. And there's nothing better when your horse wins.
Yeah, anytime you got the spa in there, you know that probably Tom Durkin is not far behind. But Big Ranger with an impressive performance, and one that I'm sure Tom Durkin would have added a little bit of flair on, because that was ultra impressive.
That was ultra impressive. And it was how professional he was. I mean, keep in mind, just one qualifier coming into that. This horse had post one and just left the gate like it was just easy. You saw the other horses were very careful going towards that opening turn. His professionalism, as much as his speed, is what impressed me.
Wow, that was an impressive performance there. We'll see where Big Ranger does end up going. And we're going to be headed towards the 12th race, and we've got the Ohio Sire Stakes 3-year-old Colt Pace. 1 mile will be the distance, and a field of 9 set to go in there. Rick Wink currently at 3 to 5.
Well, we saw the other division earlier, and if you remember, Chris, trainer Ron Burke went 1, 2, 3. Well, how about probably the best 2 in this group? Rick Wink is an absolute killer. He is 3 for 3 here at the age of 3. Made over $275,000 last year. He's only one lone loss in his entire career. That was in the Ohio Championship last year in October at Northfield. He finished 3rd. Otherwise, he's 11 of 12. So this is a horse with an impeccable resume into tonight. If you're looking for a shot to beat him, one of the horses that you'd obviously take a long look at, the 9, Sip It on C-Rock from the Ron Burke barn as well. Chris, not many horses can say this. How about Sip It on C-Rock? He's the fastest 2-year-old ever in harness racing. He took that world record mile there at the Red Mile last summer, 1:48.2. No 2-year-old in the history of the sport has ever gone faster.
Looking forward to that in race number 12 coming up, but we have to talk and catch up with Jenna Otten, who's with Ronnie Gillespie, talking about what just we saw in race number 11.
Thanks, guys. Joined here with Ronnie Gillespie, who defended his title in the 2-year-old Colt Trot Next Generation, lowering What's Shaken's stakes record. You set a track record here today with Big Ranger, 154. Was it as easy as it looked?
Yeah, he's a very nice horse. He just did it on his own. I just was so passionate.
You only opted to qualify this guy once here at Sciota Downs, and he did that on the front end as well, 57-2. Is that something you like to see with your 2-year-olds? You said you were a little upset you only qualified him once, but it doesn't look like it mattered.
Yeah, you like to qualify him twice. That way they get more used to the track. But he qualified so good, and I got a little nervous about it, and I was really nervous about the 1 hole because I've been watching racing here for a while, and it's hard to get to the front in the 1 hole. So, but I knew Burke horse was probably the next best horse in there, and he was sitting right there beside me, and I can tell he was a little hot, and Chris probably wasn't going to want to go to the front, and I didn't want to get locked in. So.
This is your 2nd year in a row winning the 2-year-old Colt Trot division. What is it that makes you so successful with these young trotters?
You can answer that question because I don't know. I love pacers, and I've been fooling with pacers for over 20-some years, and I never bought a trot on my own. The owners they saw that I had talent. I don't know. I just don't know. I guess I just have a good feel for them. I don't know, but I don't know what I do. I wish I had a good pacer though.
You have to be patient with the young trotters for sure. Well, thank you, Ronnie, so much. Enjoy this win with Big Ranger. Again, a track and stakes record. Best of luck. Maybe see you back here next year.
Hopefully. Thank you. I'm nervous. Still nervous.
There's Ronnie Gillespie there. Where from Mississippi?
You know, I'm not sure the exact location, but, you know, he does an outstanding job. Very humble there, Mr. Gillespie. He's got, you know, a limited stable. Sam Bowie, former NBA player, one of his owners. He's got a 4-year-old with him, I believe, as well, but does a tremendous job. And, again, he's just notorious for having horses ready to go very early in their careers. Obviously, he's a specialist at the next generation, winning that 2 consecutive years.
Yeah, he was being very modest there, but a dominant track record performance there from Big Ranger, so we look forward to more from that 2-year-old. We've got plenty coming up still. We're going to be taking a look at Meadowlands, race number 8 shortly. Field of 6, as we spoke about, and Captain Optimistic still holding at that 4-5 price. Poppy's Pistol towards the inside is 7-2.
Yeah, second choice there, and oddly enough, Todd McCarthy was the only driver in this race, Chris, listed on multiple horses. He opted, he was listed the 1 Poppy's Pistol, the 3 Joel and the Jets. He opted to the 3 over the 1 Poppy's Pistol, who he had just driven last out in a qualifying effort. So that sort of threw me off the trail as the 1. No surprise here, Captain Optimistic's the favorite.
All right, there is the number 2 right now. Taking a look at Fallout, Tim Tetrick, Tony Alagna. Here's the 3, Joel the Jets.
Yeah, the 2 beating just a neck of the Breeders' Crown last year. 3, Joel and the Jets, interesting horse. Misfired. He was 10th at the North America Cup final. Much better in the Elim. I think he could bounce back tonight.
There is the 4, Captain Optimistic.
Yes, again, close 4th in the Pepsi North America Cup final, deserving favorite.
All right, here's the 5 and knockout round. Big number, longest price in the field right now.
Made a break at his North America Cup elimination. A little bit tough to gauge coming in here, just his 3rd start of the season.
And number 6 to the outside, 7-1.
Yeah, coming from Yonkers over at the Messenger stake, $200,000 on the line. He's actually been in for 200+ thousand 2 out of his last 3 starts. He's been 2nd by a neck, 3rd by a length. So he's been racing well. He's been out racing his odds a bit. At post 6 tonight, we'll see what Scotty Z has in mind. He's got some lethal early speed.
Not far away from post time here. Let's throw it to Jess here with plenty more here on race number 8.
It is the 3-year-old Meadowlands pace preparation heading into that final next week. Post positions have been drawn, so we know where they'll start from in the 2025 edition of the Meadowlands pace. These 6 all will head to that final next weekend. Really looking forward to it. I'm going to use Fallout on top for Tony Alagna and Tim Tetrick. A very, very good effort in an overnight event last time out from post 7 after being parked past the quarter. He had a very, very tough trip in that North America Cup elimination, parked every step of the way, so he didn't make the final, had a week off, then raced, then another week off, and then he's back for that prep race tonight. Good post to work with. He is a fan of the Big M track. He looked really good warming up out on the racetrack as well. He is your 3-1 second choice right now. 4-5 on the 4, Captain Optimistic. Nancy Tactor, Dexter Dunn teaming up here. I did watch him warm up. He shied from all the people on the stands. He shied from a couple of tractors as well, so he was not on his best behavior warming up. We know he can overcome that. He had a game effort in that North America Cup elimination as well. He was parked every step of the way. I think he does his best work in the straightaways. So if Dexter can somehow, you know, work his magic up the backside or even early in the stretch, he's much easier to steer for trainer Nancy Tactor and Dexter Dunn. So 2-4, and then the 6, Manolette. He loves the Big M. He's a very game horse. I don't think that they're going to empty out the can on any one of these 6 tonight because the posts have already been drawn for next week. It was an open draw, but it's going to be a good one. Really looking forward to seeing what the winning connections have to say about this race heading into next week after race 8. It is the 3-year-old Open Meadowlands pace prep. I like the 2, Fallout. Ken Workington has the call.
Prep for $30,000. Field of 6. Preferred Equine starting gate is moving. The 4, Captain Optimistic, right now at 4-5. And at 5-2, the 2, Fallout. On gate for race 8. Ready for start. Here they come. And they're off. Captain Optimistic gets the first call, but Joel and the Jets shoots out and goes for the lead. Pappy's Pistol on the inside with early speed. It's those 3 into the first turn. Fallout unhurried, 4th on the inside, followed by Knockout Round, and Manolette is the early trailer. Dexter Dunn sends Captain Optimistic. Captain Optimistic strides out strong, takes the lead from Joel and the Jets. Pappy's Pistol 3rd past the quarter, then comes Fallout and Knockout Round and Manolette. First quarter up in a sparkling 26 3/5 across the backstretch. Captain Optimistic sets up shop now for Dexter Dunn, leads the way. Joel and the Jet in for that 2-hole ride. Pappy's Pistol tracking 3rd. Fallout 4th on the inside, and then Knockout Round and Manolette, and no changes, no right lines at the half. Captain Optimistic, he is 4-5 right now, in front by a length. Stocked by Joel in the Jets, 55-1. A breather in that second quarter. Pappy's Pistol 3rd. Onto the far turn they go. Fallout still 4th. Knockout Brown and Manolette. And they have 3/8 to go. Captain Optimistic getting his own way here, unchallenged in front, a length and 3/4. Joel and the Jets now trying to rev up and come after him. And then it's Pappy's Pistol who needs to do more. Fallout takes a peek to the outside, followed by Knockout Brown and Manolette. Passing 3/4, Captain Optimistic in 1:22 and 4. So he threw a 27 and 3 at them. Into the stretch drive. Captain Optimistic in front. Joel and the Jets after a perfect trip on the outside is full out. Shooting through inside, Pappy's Pistol with late pace. Here comes Pappy's Pistol as they close in on Captain Optimistic. Pappy's Pistol, Manolette from the inside with late pace. Pappy's Pistol, then Manolette, then Captain Optimistic and Fallout. 1:49 and 1.
Pappy's Pistol getting it done there. Dave Miller with the driving assignment and got a nice price. Looked like a nice return there. Was it 7-1? I thought I saw there as Pappy's Pistol down towards the inside gets the victory.
Yeah, it was a nice effort here. And I'll tell you what the key was. The 3, Joel and the Jets, he moved to the outside, Chris, to the center of the track. Well, that paved the way for Pappy's Pistol to just sit there at the inside, and he slides through and gets it done. And good news for him for next Saturday night's big money final, $656,000 Meadowlands Pace, one of their signature events. He'll return. He'll start from post 1 again with the big money on the line next week. Hopefully for him, the trip can work out just as good.
Yeah, so he wants to have an identical trip here next week. We got plenty more still to come. Pappy's Pistol gets it done at the Meadowlands on America's Day at the Races.
Whether you maintain a food plot on the weekends, tend to a small herd of livestock, or work in professional landscaping, New Holland's family of Workmaster and Boomer compact tractors at Clinton Tractor can get the job done. Known for delivering outstanding value for their performance, these reliable, powerful, and easy to operate New Holland compact tractors will help you tackle your to-do list while being easy on your wallet.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Welcome to FreeRacehorse.com, a place where every horse has a story and every story is meant to be shared. Here, we bridge the gap between these incredible athletes and the people who love them. Every great story begins with a bond. Our stable is more than just a home for these magnificent animals. It's a place of trust, care, and understanding. Here on the training track, dreams take shape. This is where perseverance meets passion. At FreeRacehorse.com, we don't just train horses, we tell their stories. Our film studio allows us to capture the emotion, the drama, and the beauty of their journeys. And beyond the races and the cameras, there's a place for peace. The paddock is where our horses find solace, where friendships are formed, and where their spirits remain free. At FreeRacehorse.com, we do more than train racehorses. We share their stories, because when you truly know a horse, you don't just watch them run, you run with them.
Back here on America's Day at the Races. America's Day at the Races, of course, right there at the Meadowlands. All the great racing action brought to you your way. It's an exciting night everywhere, and I think we've got Jess right now. Let's throw a tour live here with the winning connections from Pappy's Pistol.
One, David Miller, Pappy's Pistol, take the Meadowlands Pace Prep. First time you sat behind this guy. What a nice colt.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, I've watched him race for 2 years, and like you said, he is a real nice horse.
Talk me through the trip there a little bit. Captain Optimistic, a nice first quarter, a little bit of a breather. It almost looked like you were gapping out in the far turn. Toddy moved, and that just shot you up the rail.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened. You know, like he kind of switched his leads going into the last turn, and he was feeling a little uncomfortable, so I was just kind of hanging with him in there. But once he straightened away, he got lined back up and took off.
Next week, Meadowlands Pace Final, post 1. You must feel confident going into that Meadowlands Pace Final. Obviously, a lot more horses that aren't here tonight next week, but obviously this was a good prep for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think tonight was a great prep for me and him both. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to next week.
Good luck.
Thank you.
There you have it. Pappy's Pistol takes the Meadowlands Pace Prep 149-1, an upset win, paying $16.20. Back to you guys.
Taking a look at the prices there. Pappy's Pistol getting the job done, $16.20 on the return. You heard from Dave Miller. And we talk about this race, Gabe, and this race tonight versus when the big money is on the line. What do you take from the trips going into these types of races? What can we take in watching those video replays? Because we got to think the form is going to change a little bit when you go in and we start talking about $600,000.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Someone's not going to be left on the lead with no pressure for that long next week because they're going to be going at it early and often with that big money on the line. But you want to see horses finishing up well. They didn't have to do a lot of work. There's the field we're taking a look at. And again, as we mentioned, Pappy's Pistol has the good fortune of drawing post 1 again. That worked out really well. But the good news is he just stayed covered up. He was drafting along, Chris. Really never used hard at all. Just got to slide right up the inside and do really as little work as possible to win. That's what you like to see going forward. I think, a little bit of a concerning start tonight for Captain Optimistic. That was the favorite in this spot tonight. Likely could be, I think he's a second choice in the morning line, but after that performance, we'll see how those odds change as well. But he was very disappointing. He was left alone on the lead. Really no excuse, and just stalled through the stretch. So, that connections are going to go back to the drawing board there. Trainer Nancy Tactor, she does a great job. And so I'm sure they'll be making some adjustments and trying to figure out, what went wrong tonight. That was a little bit out of character for him, stalling there in deep stretch.
No two trips are the same, so we'll see what happens coming up to that Meadowlands Pace because a lot of big money on the line. Looking forward to that next week. Meadowlands Race 9 is coming up, and we've got a couple scratches in there, the 7 and the 8, but this is a race that you really took a nice interest in today's night.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm not the only one that's taken an interest, Chris, because 6-1 of the morning line, 4-5 right now on the board. That's just a little bit short, but I'm hoping that price will improve. Yeah, he's my best bet of the night.
Meadowlands race number 9 is coming up at Sciota. They're headed towards the gate right now and taking a look at this 12th race. Going into this 1 mile pace, Rick Wink now 1-5 short price favorite.
Yeah, deserved it so. 11 of 12 in his career. He's been sensational. Over $350,000 for the sport's all-time leading trader, Ron Burke. Chris Page had his choice of the 2 Burke trainees. That being number 3 and 9. Rick Wink could get here, big-time favorite. I do think the stablemate's going to lead and mix it up. That's 9 Sip It on C-Rock. Ronnie Wren Jr. has that assignment tonight. Of course, he'll pilot the favorite in next week's Meadowlands Pace, Blueprint. So he won't be at Sciota next Saturday. He'll be out at the Big M.
It all comes together. Ron Burke, he won the first race that we showed here on tonight's broadcast. Let's see if they take down race number 12, Ohio Sire Stakes. And Barry McRoy, track announcer, takes him around there.
Ohio Sire Stake, 3 Cold Pacers, 12th race from Sciota Downs, field of 9. Gate swings into the back stretch. Here they go. Here off, host of levers leading the charge down by the parade at the rail. Rick Wink sent away. Outside, John I Love That off stride, went Extra Suds. Backing off 4th, Seaside Deli outside. Sipping on C-Rock, continue to advance for Ronnie Wren Jr. As they make their way around the turn in 6, Z Sad as they are battling for the lead up top. Next is Riding the Waves, followed by House of Bricks, and Extra Sud still trying to find his gate. They come past the stands. It's Rick Wink with the lead, sipping on C-Rock on the outside. He'll work his way to the top now that they have John I Love That seated 3rd. Down by the parade is 4th, followed by Seaside Deli. Then Z Sad, followed closely by Riding the Waves and House of Bricks, and Extra Suds as the trailer. Sipping on C-Rock will take him towards and past the half. Again, 55-1, 28-2. Second panel as Ronnie tapped the brakes. He's got his hands full now. Sipping on C-Rock is fired up on the lead. Rick Wink is second. John I Love That 3rd. Gap of 2 to down by the parade. Another length and a half back to Seaside Deli. On the outside moving, Riding the Waves at the rail. Z Said following cover. House of Bricks is going to have to come 3 wide. Extra Suds the trailer. They pass 3/4, Sipping on C-Rock has him there at 1-23, 27-4 backside. Rick Wink in the pocket. Outside, John I Love That. The trio have separated themselves by 7 lengths from House of Bricks, who comes on now 4th. Top of the stretch on their way home, Sipping on C-Rock. Rick Wink out of the pocket is digging in, Sipping on C-Rock. Rick Wank coming on and coming at him, sipping on Sea Rock. Rick Wank from sipping on Sea Rock. John, I love that. And House of Bricks, 149-2.
Wasn't the easiest victory there for Rick Wink, but it looked like Chris Page said, hey, Rick Wink, we're 1-5. We got to get the job done here.
Yeah, and the stretch opens up at the inside, Chris. There's a passing lane there, so if you're like pinned there, you can go up the inside. But horses by nature, they like to pass on the outside. That's just typically the way they're trained to do it. So you saw Chris make sort of a last-minute decision there to angle wide as a 6. John, I love that, started to back off a bit. And he just gets the best of his stablemate to put the game effort into feet, sipping on Ciroc. But the Rick Wink, now 12 of 13 in his career. He's a nice pony. It's an embarrassment of riches for 3-year-old pacing colts for trader Ron Burke. We saw him go 1-2-3 in the first Ohio Sire Stake. He goes 1-2 there. By the way, he's got Blueprint, the favorite in next week's Meadowlands pace.
Wow, just tremendous job there from Ron Burke as we get ready for plenty of great racing. And, of course, on August 2nd, there's going to be the 100th Hamiltonian. And you've seen many of these races, but any of them stand out to you? Any of those really, jump out to you as your favorite Hamiltonian?
You know, they all have their moments. When you look back through some of the winners, my first Hamiltonian, Dewey Cheetah But How, won it there, 23, 4 years ago, I think, at this point. You see Carl Yannick Gingras finally snapped that, long lifetime streak that he had with a victory, and that was just an absolute downpour. You see the connections there. Jess and I were also included in the people that got soaked there on track. That was a great event, for some really good people there with Carl. But one thing about it, just every single year, it's just the biggest stage in the sport of harness racing. It will be the most heavily bet card of the entire year, and you've got all sorts of multi-race action. If you like to, buckle up and batten down the hatches and send it in that day, it's just a really fun day to enjoy all the way through.
Yeah, live here on Fox, of course, and Meadowlands. You'll have plenty of the Hamiltonian 100th edition, so looking forward to a great lineup and a lot of wagering opportunities. You might hit the repeat button a couple times.
Yeah, that's a long day, so we have to sort of, navigate that bankroll a little bit. If you start at noon and you're still in action about the 16th going behind the gate there after the Hambo, it can get a little long, let's just say, for some of our bankroll troubles.
Race number 9 is coming up at the Meadowlands post-parade time as we take a look at this 9th race, a 1-mile pace, and there's the one Rocket Jukebox.
Yeah, off a win at Pocono. A little bit tougher company tonight, but he has a chance.
The 2, T.H. Tyson.
Also off a win. By nose, he's back at the same level.
Here's the 3, Maxim Hanover.
Love him. Traffic trouble last time. I hope the price improves. He was loaded, had nowhere to go.
The 4, what's Stanley got?
Off a third-place effort at Pocono. He's back in against similar company.
Big number and Trooper.
Yes, a tough break. He's been a big price and just hasn't had much to offer of late.
The 6, 3-1 right now, Captain Crusader.
Knocking on the door. He's been at the same level each of his last 2 tries, beating a neck and a second and a third.
Couple scratches, the 7 and the 8. Big price towards the outside, the 9.
Yeah, this one in from Pocono. A little easier company tonight, but a tough task there. We'll end up with post 7 down with the scratches.
And the 10 will round things out. Dynamite Dylan.
And Andy Miller is very aggressive at the bike, Chris. They call him the Orange Crush. This guy's got early speed. Would not shock me to see him take a big shot off the wing. Still going to have to come with his very best punch, though, to hang in at the late stages.
Action coming up here. Fast and Furious here. We got Sciota, we got Meadowlands, we got all the great talent around, and we got race number 9 coming up. 6-1 was your morning line. Maxim Hanover down to 3-2 right now.
Yeah, getting a replay last week. This guy was last at one point at 8-horse field and just completely blocked. He could not get through. When he found just an inch of daylight, Chris, about the last 20, 30 yards, he absolutely exploded. He was beaten just a neck at the end of the day. I think that, Jordan Stratton probably going to drive him more aggressively here tonight. He's just got more confidence now. That was his first time at the bike last time, so you would have to think that he knows what's under the hood a bit now with this guy. I think that you'll see an aggressive type effort. I just hope the price continues to go up because obviously he was an odds-on. Right now he shouldn't be an odds-on favorite at this spot, but definitely a horse that I like a lot.
Gabe sees the number 3 in Maxim Hanover, but a lot of the bettors are agreeing with him right now. Jess, what do you think? Is it as simple as Maxim Hanover, or are we looking elsewhere?
Oh, I'm going to look elsewhere in this overnight event. I really like Captain Crusader in this spot. Gabe had alluded to it. He's been knocking on the door at this level the last couple of times. He's had a little bit of traffic trouble late in the stretch to really show his full ability to get home late. Hasn't quite gotten there in each one of those last 2 tries, but he's been racing very, very well at this level. He was a winner 3 back at a lower level, now went to 7,500. Wasn't even the favorite that night. It was a 149-4 effort, beating a nice group of horses. He was 4 wide at the 3/4 3/4 pole before heading for home there. 26-2 at the end of it. Another 26-2 last quarter, 2 back, just beating a neck by South Beach Star. He actually had faced some stakes company last season, so he was facing good company there. And then last time out, 3 wide at the 3/4 pole. T.H. Tyson was on his game, as well as Da Delightful, and he couldn't quite get to him. He just had too many horses to pass, and a lot of traffic trouble there in that far turn to really get his full ability. 25-4 at the end of it, a 50 effort from him. He's got post 6 tonight. Brett Beckwith's going to be aboard him from post 6. And I'm going to use him on top, and he is 2-1 on the board right now. I like T.H. Tyson as well. This guy's been super sharp. You just see those 2 starts last season, so he's really used those handful of starts in the beginning of this year to really get himself rolling. He was really good last week. 26-1, a 50 effort. He was 9-1. You're getting 8-1 on him tonight. I think he's being overlooked by the bettors. He's kind of been fluctuating up and down between some class levels. 6 under nominators at 3, but no more than 5, or 2, no more than 6. Trackmaster 83.5. So he was actually a winner at that level 3 back, where he made his move to the front just before the half. A 26 flat at the end of it. Nominators at 12-5. Can be a pretty stout group of horses, and he got the job done last week. He gets another good post to work with. I think things are going to have to work out for him, but I think he's capable of getting the job done. Rock and Jukebox, Joe Bondorno, driver trainer effort here. We saw him win earlier on in the card tonight. Last time we saw him at this level was on the 21st of June. Was 5th out of that South Beach Star race, 49-4. Never really got a chance to race until late in the mile, and he was only beaten 2 legs there. Went over to the Poconos, dropped and pop, a confidence-boosting win there, 49-1 effort. He gets the rail to work with. He's 8-1 on the board. And then I'll use the favorite, Maxim Hanover, after that. I know he had a lot of pace last week and having where to go. Now he gets a good post to work with. I figured he'd be overbet in this spot. I don't want to say he's overbet, but he is taking a lot more money, where I think you can maybe spread it out a little bit between horses in here. I'm going to stick with Captain Crusader on top. 9-5 right now for the Big M's leading driver, Brett Beckwith. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Jess. And taking a look at Maxim Hanover here, Gabe. I mean, what price are you going to be happy with? I mean, I don't think you're going to get the 6-1 that you were looking at, but you got 8-5. You're floating up a little bit as the money starts coming on the 6.
Starting to get at the right number, Chris. 2-1, 5-2. You know, I'd particularly like anywhere in that range. You know, as we mentioned a little earlier on the show, everyone sees these races. Replays are very readily available these days. So a lot of horses that are coming off this type of overloaded traffic trouble, sometimes they do tend to come back and they get overbet the next week. I think this is a huge case of this, at least early on, when we saw him at the absurdity of odds on in this price. But you see Jess's top pick, Captain Crusader, has been very good, started to take some play. But again, I just think that, this horse is going to continue to go up, I do believe, with Maxim Hanover. You're not going to get a bargain price on him, let's say that. But again, 2-1, 5-2, I think very reasonable. And I think that would be, at the end of the day, a good number. All
right, it's between the 3 and the 6, both vying for favoritism. Right outside of that, looking at the 2 and T.H. Tyson, currently sitting at 6-1. The 1, Rock and Jukebox, one that we lightly talked about at 8-1. Giving that one any kind of shot there, Gabe, the 1?
Yeah, it was a good start last time. We saw the Joe Bongiorno barn win the first race on the show tonight. Tactical speed. I think Joe's going to try to get him out there in position early. He'll see if he can parlay a good trip to be close.
All right, it's race number 9 coming up from the Meadowlands. We'll see what happens here. Ken Workington's got the call. We'll see if it's Maxim Hanover or Captain Crusader or somebody else. Race 9.
Here at 9 here, 3 Maxim Hanover and 6 on double. Here they come. They're off. Dynamite Dylan on the outside, leaving with Bedazzled Lou as Wet Stanley got shoots out with Rock and Jukebox on the rail. Rock and Jukebox. Wet Stanley got on the outside, challenges 3 wide. Dynamite Dylan on the outside. T.H. Tyson just floated away, 4th on the inside. Bedazzled Lou is 5th and takes a tuck in front of Maxim Hanover. And then comes Trooper L and the trailer Captain Crusader. Rock and Jukebox and Joe Bongiorno at 9-2 on the board. A hot 26-4 to open it up here. Dynamite Dylan at 42-1, reaching up on the outside, but he's going to get parked out. What Stanley Got keeps him out there third. T.H. Tyson tracks along in fourth. Be Dazzled Blue fifth by 2. Then comes Maxim Hanover and Trooper L, and still trailing Captain Crusader. It's Rockin' Jukebox under some token pressure from Dynamite Dylan, who goes the long trip on the outside. 54 and 4 for the half mile. Rockin' Jukebox parking out Dynamite Dylan. What Stanley Got in the pocket spot. T.H. Tyson is pinned in. Ranging up his Maxim Hanover into that second over position. Tracked by Trooper L, who's third over. And now looking for room is Be Dazzled Lou at the rear of the field. Captain Crusader trying to pass them all. He's got 7 or 8 to make up. It's Rockin' Jukebox and the pesky pressure from Dynamite Dylan on the outside. 3 wide. Maxim Hanover looking for room. What Stanley Got. He's got pace. 1:23 and 2 in the stretch drive. And it's Rockin' Jukebox trying to get away from them. Maxim Hanover on the outside, sizing him up, letting him have it. Here comes Captain Crusader from last. Maxim Hanover shooting the rail. T.H. Tyson, Maxim Hanover, then Captain Crusader, T.H. Tyson, and Rockin' Jukebox in 1:50 and 1.
There you have it. Gabe Pruitt gets the job done there with his selection, the number 3 in Maxim Hanover, and it's something that you saw the replays. It was a horse that you really liked coming into the evening, and it pays off, gets it done.
Yeah, he did get it done. Maybe a little bit of a half-price special here, Chris, 7 to 5. I was hoping, for maybe 2 to 1, 5 to 2, but the race set up perfectly for him. We had a battle brewing up top between the 1 and 10. He got to swallow him up, power up down the lane, and fend off the others.
Maxim Hanover gets it done. Jordan Stratton, short price, but a winner.
Join us at Saratoga Racecourse for the 5th annual New York Thoroughbred Aftercare Day. This special live race day celebrates retired racehorses and fun for the whole family. Free with paid admission on Thursday, July 17th.
The official Saratoga Barstool Sports Collection is here. Check out the hottest styles of the summer. Shop this limited drop before it's gone. Get yours at shop.naira.com.
Back here on America's Day at the races, there was the number 3, Rick Wink, a short price favorite, 1 to 5, getting the job done. Driver Chris Page, a few anxious moments, not too anxious, but once John, I love that kind of drop back. They gave Rick Wink the opening.
And Chris Page, Ron Burke's main man, particularly in the state of Ohio. He drove by the Missile with a Little Brown Jug a couple of years back. Chris, a Delaware, Ohio native. That was a huge moment in his career. But he's known, Chris, for being very, very patient. I mean, he's always going to win by about as little as he possibly can. We saw him wrapped up in that earlier stake race where Ron Burke went 1, 2, 3, where he was completely geared down through the stretch. And really similar tactics here. I mean, Chris is a true tactician. He never shows his hand too much.
An embarrassment of riches, as Gabe Pruitt put it. Jenna Otten with plenty more with Ron Burke.
Joined with running trainer there of Rick Wake, Ron Burke. Probably not ideal to have your two stablemates going at it towards the first quarter there, but Sippin' on Sea Rock was able to clear and it pocketed up Rick Wink there.
Yeah, no, Rick Wink's been real good. And, it seems like nothing goes right for Sippin' on Sea Rock right now this year. So it'll all even out before the end of the year. But I don't know if I could separate them colts, but Rick Wink was very good and, just had the better starting spot.
You obviously have a lot of 3-year-old colt pacers. We've seen Swingtown. We've seen Sippin' on Sea Rock out in the Grand Circuit. Not so much for Rick Wink. Any plans for him, maybe broadening the horizon, maybe seeing him on the Grand Circuit?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he has maybe the Max Hemp thing, and he might have one more. So he has a chance to show what he is. And then, our plan for him is to be an aged horse, like his father was, and go a long way. And I think he's the kind that is going to get around to half. And, you think Brigada already, but, you got to dream.
Now, coming up in the next generation, the 2-year-old colt pacers, you have I'll Bet Your Boots. This was a recent purchase for you guys. First start, 52-2. How did that purchase come about?
It's a son of Summa Cum Laude who, was our horse, and we really want to support him, and he was very impressive. He beat our colt who was flying, but, we think the world of our colt, so when we heard this colt might be available, we moved. And this colt doesn't have a lot of races, so we decided to go with him, not our colt, just because we can, leave it a little bit more on the track with this colt and not worry about it. So, I'm sure we're going to be aggressive here. And, I trained him. I loved him. The people did a wonderful job with him.
Now, before we let you go, get your thoughts on the Meadowlands Pace next weekend. Blueprint draws post 8. Should be no problem. He drew post 9 in the Breeders' Crown last year. No problem. What are your thoughts going into Blueprint?
Yeah, it's the last post position where I would not have really started to worry. I mean, 8, 7, 6, the gate's now a little slanted there. It's going to put you into the race. He doesn't need to be up front. And, I have the total faith. I've said this a million times already in Ronnie. He'll figure it out. He'll get him in a spot. And if he's good enough, he'll win, So I I drew the 2-hole with my other colt. So, I'm going to push with him. And, it should be a great race. There's a lot of people with, in different spots than they normally are. And I think it's going to make, and the Mad Oak's drawn to 10. Does he try it again? So it's an interesting race.
Thanks, Ronnie. Best of luck here tonight and best of luck next weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jenna. There with trainer Ron Burke, and you hear a lot of great stuff there. That's why you got to watch all these shows as we lead up into these races. But you heard from Ron Burke that he seems pretty happy with the 8 Blueprint being in that 8 position.
Yeah, and I think, Ronnie knows, he's obviously got all the confidence in the world in his colt. He's been so good. We'll take a look back at his qualifier, Chris. This was from yesterday morning there at the Meadowlands. And Ronnie gave him a nice, easy go-around. You see there the qualifiers in the morning. Just like a regular race. They start behind the gate, and they just put in efforts. Obviously, you can see that it's all about visually how they finish up. You see a horse that, he obviously wasn't getting overly aggressive too early there. But you see Blueprint start to close down the center of the track here in the second spot. You see Ronnie just sitting. He's just a passenger here, coasting home. Just wants to get a good tightener to keep his fitness up, Chris, with that big money on the line next week. Visually, he just couldn't have looked any more impressive as you see him just gobbling up ground there on the leader right until the finish.
Yeah, Ron Burke was saying that he didn't think he needs the lead. Do you feel kind of the same way about Blueprint going in?
Yeah, he won the Breeders' Crown from off the pace there last year, post 9. So, I don't think he needs the lead. I think the tough thing is, when you have the best horse, when you're going to be an odds-on favorite, and I think that's the key case for him. It almost puts a lot of pressure on Roddy Wren to drive him like he's tons of best. And will he respond? He did, obviously, the Pepsi North America Cup. He was used extremely hard there to pay those type of, fractions in that race, and Doug had got it done. So, Post 8's not going to be easy, but I know Ronnie wouldn't want to trade places with anyone.
Well, if the 3 didn't get home there, Maxim Hanover would be saying, I'll bet your boots, Gabe Pruitt, as I'll bet your boots is going to be there for trainer Ron Burke and Chris Page, and they'll have the driving duties. Currently even money right now in this next-gen 2-year-old colt pace.
Well, you talk about a couple of things that perked up my antennas in that interview, Chris Griffin. They just bought this guy, as Ronnie said there, and he said he's trained him one time, loved him, but he said he didn't have a lot of stakes this year. So he said, tonight's a night to leave it all on the table. Well, that is interesting because from a betting standpoint, that's what we like to hear. By the way, going into some of these events, I think he is the short price favorite, one of a handful here. I think that do have a shot, but I think I'll bet your boots. Clearly, if he can continue to step forward, probably the one to beat in this spot.
Jenna Otten's got plenty more. Race 13 coming up. Is it just the Ron Burke show, Jenna, or are we going elsewhere here in this 13th?
It is the Ron Burke show, but I do try to tee up a price here in the final division of the next generation. I'm going to use the 6 on top, Sparks and Fire. I've had a chance to catch up with Todd Luther and Austin Hanners over the course of the week. Todd Luther said he kind of kept this guy hidden in his barn through the course of the winter. Same thing with Austin. Last time out in the qualifier, he was second, a length and a half behind Crocodile Station. But if you paid close attention to after the wire that day, Sparks and Fire, when Austin tipped him off the back there of Crocodile Station, he was loaded after the qualifier, and that was in 53-2. He paced home 27-2. He was 9-1 on the morning line, which kind of shocked me a little bit. The connections are high in this guy, so I'm going to roll with the price. It's Sparks and Fire, 16-1. It's been the Chris Page, Ron Burke show all night long, and they're going to send out I'll Bet Your Boots from Post 2. Heard Ronnie say this was a new acquisition to his barn over the course of the past week, and I'm on board with Gabe. Ronnie made a statement there. We're going to leave it all out on the track this year as he's not heavily staked, so even money might not be a bad price to shoot at. You heard it from the trainer himself. They're leaving it all on the racetrack. That was an eye-opening mile by I'll Bet Your Boots last time out. Made his way to the front end, parked past the quarter, 28-1. He sprinted home in 26-3. First crop of Summa Cum Laudes, they have looked pretty well. Another horse that's undefeated in the qualifiers, that's the rail horse, Crocodile Station. Ronnie Wren Jr. gets the call here on the Michael Hitchcock trainee, a son of Down by the Seaside. They bought this spot for him in May for $10,000. He was a winner of that qualifier in front of Sparks and Fire in 53-1. He does get the rail to work with, and he has looked impressive as they are getting ready to roll here for the final division of the next generation. 2-year-old Colt Pacers will send it upstairs to Barry Vickroy. He'll have the call.
Let's see. Odds on Sugar, Sparks and Fire, Swelch, highest honors, and on the outside, I Am the C. 13th starts the late pick 4, and here they go. Here, Avi and pacing. Sparks and Fire gets the first call. I'll Bet Your Boots to the inside. Crocodile Station away well third. As they race into the turn there, fourth, Legend at Sea will be followed by Odds on Sugar. Swelch looking to move up a spot. Caillou Hanover to the inside. He's 7th, racing in 8th. Highest honors, and I Am the Sea is the trailer. A lot of early movement. I'll Bet Your Boots moves to the top. Crocodile Station, same idea. Sparks and Fire, kick back third along the inside. Legend at Sea. Some steering issues is wide on the outside. The quarter 27-3. Danny's a passenger right now. Zach Colt is fired up. Racing 5th is Odds on Sugar, followed by Swelch. Then Caillou Hanover 7th. 8th is Highest Honors, and I Am the Sea. A bit steppy, gaps away and trails on over to the half. Crocodile Station takes over the lead. I'll Bet Your Boots is now there, second on the outside. The Legend at Sea. First up at 33-1. He is still void of power steering, but still trying to advance to the inside. Sparks and Fire locked in. Odds on Sugar, second over, 55-4 for the half, 28-1. Second Panner, Swelch is third over on the outside at the rail. Highest honors. Trapped in, out fourth over is a driver 3/4 is Caillou Hanover in the trailer I Am the Sea. It's Crocodile Station leading the way. I'll Bet Your Boots from the pocket, 3 wide. Here comes Odds on Sugar. Legend at Sea, he'll have to dig in. Swelch is 3 wide, soon to be 4 wide. 124-2, 28-3 backside. And it's Crocodile Station, the lead a length and a half. Odds on Sugar in between horses inside. I'll Bet Your Boots 3 wide off the turn. Here comes Swelch into the stretch. It's Crocodile Station. I'll Bet Your Boots outside Swelch digging in as they come to the wire. Crocodile Station. I'll Bet Your Boots and Swelch in a photo. 152.
All right, had a photo finish there, Gabe, and we get tight finishes sometimes. This one got a lot closer at the wire, didn't it?
It really did. You see a couple coming through down at the inside. I'll Bet Your Boots as the favorite. Chris is all in working into the line. Tied with a 7 and 6. I know Jenna was a big fan of the 6 Sparks and Fire. That one had a lot of pace as a long shot down at the inside, but I do believe it was the barn change. I'll Bet Your Boots here. Debuts for Team Burke that was able to narrowly hold here in a very tight photo. Things got interesting here through the lane.
I'll Bet Your Boots there. Maybe your winner, Chris Page with the driving assignment. And did it feel like I'll Bet Your Boots was really going to push on by? I mean, they were all kind of swarming, I guess, the leader there in the late stages.
For as easy as a trip as he got there, Chris, I thought he might respond a little more. I thought he might be loaded and just burst through down at the inside. The pace wasn't overly taxing. You got to follow a very live horse. And basically, when you're sitting second, you want to follow just to that top of the stretch because, again, it opens up there at the inside at Sciota Downs, and you get to shoot through. You have plenty of clearance. So the horse took him where he needed to go. I thought that, when he was able to burst through, that he might respond in a big way. It looked like he did in a big enough way, but maybe not quite to the degree I had expected.
Do you think that leaves a little bit of room for trainer Ron Burke to now, once he's got him a little bit more and he's had the horse a little bit longer, now he can improve even that much more?
There's no question. Yeah, Ron Burke's the best in the business for a reason. And the other thing is, Chris, like we talked about a little earlier, horses by nature like to pass on the outside. So it's a little bit of a new thing, and particularly for a horse that's making just his second lifetime start to go through at the inside. When they're in training sets out there in the mornings, you pass on the outside. That's just the way it's done. So these horses are still learning how to race. So it might have been a little bit of shyness, maybe from going, on through down at the inside for I'll Bet Your Boots as well. But there's no question, if anyone is going to continue to pave a path for a horse that with a lot of upside, it's trainer Ron Burke, and they have to be happy here with their fresh purchase, again, who comes through here for them at first asking.
And how about for the drivers as well, as the drivers are getting experience and accustomed to some of these horses that they may not have driven before?
Yeah, there's no question. And, even though the pace wasn't overly taxing there, we did see lots of early movement.
Yep.
So these horses are moving, a couple of times. And, again, Chris is just known for his patience with young horses. That comes through a long way. You want to keep them just as, calm as you can, because the worst thing you can do, Chris, with a horse that just starts racing, you get them too keyed up, you get them too hot, and then guess what? As they continue to race throughout their career, they just become unmanageable. So you want to obviously have as much success as you can and keep them as calm and relaxed to do their job.
Yep, still a photo finish there at Sciota, as we do think the 2 I'll Bet Your Boots did get the win picture, but we did see a tight finish there for place. We're going to head over to Meadowlands while we wait for that photo result. We got a post parade on tape delay, I believe, taking a look at the 10th race from the Meadowlands, and the 1 is going to be our first one to take a look at. That's Captain Bazinga.
Off a 4-month layoff here, one recent qualifier in dull form when we last saw him.
There's the 2 and Trumpster Blues.
Good second last out of Harris Philly. A little bit tougher company, I think, here tonight at the Big M.
15-1, Mad River.
Yeah, so the son of Sweet Lou tried to go wire to wire last time, but Philly just caved in late, and this is maybe just as tough of an assignment here for him tonight.
And there is Mad River up on your screen right now. Again, this post-parade tape delay, the 4, Remember the Alamo.
Remember the Alamo has not raced since May 31st, so it's missed over a month as well. Good recent qualifier, though. Thought that was a very good tightener for this event tonight.
The 5 is going to be Lou Grant.
Horse to beat, in my opinion. I did use him second. Comes off a near miss last out here at the Meadowlands. Second beating ahead right at the same level.
You'll see Lou Grant come into your picture here very shortly, and that's going to lead right into the 6 as well in Jabbar. All these basketball references tonight here.
Yes, we do. We do have. And this guy, here's the good news and bad news scenario. Jabbar adds Lasix tonight, but he was scratched sick, went in to go last Saturday night. So a little bit of a curious case here. Definitely we see Lasix, as a therapeutic medication, typically help horses. So, perhaps he could get a little better. One thing about it, the price right, 19-1.
Jabbar, there he is. Jabbar, Scott Zeron. Number 7 will be coming up here in just a moment. That's going to be Ride Superfly.
Early speed, typically this guy's weapon of choice. How about the 6-year-old? He was a recent import from overseas. He's 7 of 9 since stateside, but he has not raced since mid-May.
All right, we're going to see the 7 in just a moment. While we're waiting to see the 7, 2-7-6-1 was that result there. The 7 did get up for the place over at Sciota, as we'll take a look at the 7 here at 12-1 in just a moment, and then 2 more after that. Getting some camera time here on the 6 Jabbar. He was very shy as a basketball player, though.
Yeah, he's getting plenty of time on here tonight.
There is the 7 there, currently at 12-1, as we spoke about. And we'll get the 8 in here, Taranaki.
Taranaki comes off an explosive qualifier there last week at Gateway, double-digit winner. No, he hasn't raced since May 17th, but he does pick up the services tonight of Dexter Dunn from Post 8. I think he'll be aggressive here, Chris, despite the layoff. I did give him the nod. Cool-looking Roan, son of Huntsville.
All right, there is Taranaki, the 8, and one more, Wedlock Blue Chip, the 9.
Wedlock Blue Chip, good early speed for this guy as well. That's a recurring theme here in this spot tonight. Comes off a similar start at Pocono Downs. He was 3rd. Dave Miller, the Hall of Famer here at the lines. One of the coolest nicknames in the sport, Chris, Purple Jesus.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, fantastic. Purple Jesus, basketball references. We got it all going on here tonight. We got Ken Workington here almost post time as we're getting close to race number 10. We had that post parade on tape delay, and I think we're right up on it, right? Race number 10 coming up at the Meadowlands.
The 8, Taranaki. On gate race 10, here they come. They're off. A Reed Superfly on the outside, flying away. Remember, the Alamo shoots out. Taranaki from the far outside with early speed. And remember, the Alamo's now 2nd. Taranaki swoops down on the outside, along with Lou Grant now 4th in between them. So it's Captain Bazinga who got away 5th on the inside, and going up is Wedlock Blue Chip from 6th. Stride for stride with the Trumpster Blues, and then it's Mad River and Jabbar's the early trailer. First quarter, a snappy 27 flat for Taranaki, and ranging up is Lou Grant. 2-5, the big favorite, Lou Grant, and Jason Bartlett plants him up front. Lou Grant, Taranaki now 2nd. Reed's Superfly is 3rd. Remember, the Alamo is 4th. Captain Bazinga stays in 5th on the outside, Wedlock Blue Chip. And then it's Trumpster Blues on the inside with Mad River. Jabbar continues to trail. They are halfway home. It's a Lou Grant in full control there. 55-3 for Lou Grant onto the far turn. Taranaki fresh off the bench here with a 2-hole ride. Reed Superfly close to that pace in 3rd. Wedlock Blue Chip uncovered on the outside. 4th closes in. Remember, the Alamo's now pinned in 5th up with live cover. Mad River on the outside 6th. And then it's Captain Bazinga on the inside. He's passed by Jabbar and Trumpster Blues over by 3/4. And Taranaki has deuce popped. And Taranaki pounces on Lou Grant and takes it to him. 1:23-1. They're in the stretch drive. And Taranaki on the outside with dead aim. Lou Grant trying to fight him off in doing that. And then it's Reed Superfly in 3rd. And remember, the Alamo splitting off stride. Lou Grant went off the course. So remember, the Alamo inherits the lead. Remember the Alamo. Then Reed Superfly, Captain Bazinga, and Wedlock Blue Chip. And flying late was Jabbar. 1:49-3. Hold all tickets.
Man, I mean, a dramatic finish here at the end. Remember, the Alamo's going to get up for the victory, but what happens here, Gabe?
Absolute chaos, Chris, in the stretch. This is a dangerous situation. When you have a horse in the lead, loses stride. It was tough to tell exactly what happened there. I don't see any equipment issues. He was very bumpy for the 4 or 5 starts, leading up into that full gallop. Obviously, these horses are pacing. They're not galloping like thoroughbreds. He went into a full gallop, which, had several check up there. Maybe just a little bit of a fatigue break. He just got a little tired there through the stretch, but it was, remember, the Alamo who was able to shoot through here and pull off a decisive win, but a bit of an odd moment there. We see that, as we talked about earlier, with some of the 2-year-old races we had tonight. Horses just learning, but this is a 4-year-old veteran. This was his 29th start tonight. To my knowledge, the first time he has ever made a break in stride, so just a little bit of an oddity for Lou Grant here through the lane.
Was Jason Bartlett, was it a little bit of him protecting the drivers in behind him as well because of that break happening so quickly in that moment?
And the other thing that he could have done, because, guys are going to be very safe, especially the, best pros in the business here. Dexter Dunn pulled the 8. I even made the comment very early around the turn. They like to draft, Chris. Jason may have even felt something was a little bit amiss there, and, could have even yelled something in the bike for Dexter to pull the gray horse there to the outside. Just very odd. But, yeah, this is a scary moment. You don't want to be on the lead here with, 8 1,200-pound animals chasing him behind you with a short margin. So, luckily, all ends well here as Jason goes in the safety lane to get out of harm's way.
Wow, dramatic finish there in race number 10. Remember, the Alamo does benefit. Inquiry sign is up. We'll have plenty more when we come back and talk about this 10th at Meadowlands on America's Day at the Races.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race from every track on every screen every day. Monthly packages starting as low as $5 per month. RTN gives you great value and access to more HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit rtn.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire.
Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program in Oxford, New York was created in 2018 by Wanda Palacini to provide training to transition for finding homes and new careers for horses. Horses are started with groundwork and then ridden in an arena before moving on. Horses at Purple Haze are then evaluated and adopted out based on abilities and temperament. If you have a horse that you care about, or if you're looking for a great pleasure horse, contact Purple Haze Standardbred Adoption Program at 518-669-2715.
Who's in for Mohegan? Obviously everyone. A cheers with friends, then it's off to the races. A moment of calm before the dark and stormy. One more dance floor. Who needs skill when you have style? And feeling like it's the best time ever? Smile. Apps and nightcaps? Yes. Then it's down for the thread count to start it all again tomorrow. This is how it feels when you're all in for Mohegan. Mohegan Sun.
It was a tight photo for the place, but the winner was trained by Ron Burke. There he is right there, getting the blanket, of course, and the next-gen 2-year-old colt pace. I'll bet your boots getting the job done.
Yeah, nice effort here, and what a great night there at Sciota Downs. We still have one to come there, by the way, but they're going to host the Breeders' Crown in 2026, Chris. You know, they've invested a ton of money, over $100 million. They built a brand-new grandstand, a brand-new race paddock. For all the starters there, Jason Roth, the director of racing, Joe Morris, the Caesars group. But, you know, it's just a great atmosphere there just outside Columbus, really in the heartland. And, you know, they really love harness racing. And I think, again, the big nights are just really, really fun. I know that Breeders' Crown is going to be a heck of a show there next year.
They play football or something in that city, huh?
Yeah, they do a little bit. The Ohio State, the wrong conference for me. As you know, I'm a little bit of an SEC guy, even though my football team in Kentucky doesn't do much.
All right. Jenna Otten with plenty more here with the Wooded Connections from today's 13th.
Jenna Otten here standing alongside winning owner Chris Breckler of Knox Services. That's a 4-peat in the next generation for 2-year-old colt pacers. It's just easy pickings, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it's easy. I mean, I didn't realize it was our 4th time winning in a row, but I know Swintown last year and the year before, or 2 years ago, was at fast, and I forgot about Midwin Beach Boy, and he was at the wire, just like this colt won at the wire.
So how did that purchase go? You guys just bought him. Did Ronnie say, hey, do you want a piece of this colt, or did he kind of let you decide if you wanted to buy in?
Mark actually called, put the deal together, and called and asked if we wanted in. We said yes, and that's how we got in.
You've established quite a relationship over the past few years with trainer Ron Burke. How is that?
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, you leave everything to him. He knows what he's doing. There's no questions. It's just, if there's a question, all you got to do is call and ask him. But it's fantastic. I mean, he's in the Hall of Fame for a reason.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you very much to Jenna Otten and ownership as we were I was checking games with bets. I thought I was checking his wagers and who we were betting throughout the evening. But it's been some great racing action there. And Ron Burke, he's just had an embarrassment of riches, as you talked about, does in the 2-year-old division here.
Yeah, you know, he just has so much ammunition, so much firepower. And, you know, you heard Chris, Breckler there, the co-owner, discuss, you know, one of their other co-owners, Mark Weaver. He does a lot behind the scenes for that Burke Brigade. He's always scouting horses, always trying to make deals, always trying to find, you know, new stars. And they're very good at scouting talent. They got a good one here as well.
Yeah. Luckily, nobody will take a screenshot of what just might have taken place there. That split second there before we got back on set. Ohio Sire Stakes coming up, 3-year-old filly pace, 1 mile, race 14. We're just keeping everybody laughing there behind the camera. First $65,000, field of 7, and another heavy price favorite here, 1-5 odds on Hialeah.
Yeah, Hialeah, nice race course down there, as you and I know. And this one, Chris, I wish I had better news. I wish we, late in the night, I wish we could take a stand against the favorite. This one really looks for him. We got 65,000 on the line. Odds on Hialeah, 9 of 10. 3-year-old daughter of Latherup. She's trained by Virgil Morgan Jr. Well, it's not all about Ron Burke. Virgil Morgan Jr., Chris, he's been the leading trainer at Sciota Downs for 30 consecutive seasons. Unbelievable. He's the second all-time leading trainer in harness racing in terms of wins, over 7,700. But yeah, Sciota Downs, that's the house that Virgil built. He'll have a big say here with odds on Hialeah. Looks like clearly the one to beat.
2 to 5 on the 6 right now. A field of 7. Race number 14. Jenna Otten with plenty more. Jenna, what do you got for this 14th?
I think that it would be a gift if we could get 2 to 5 on odds on Hialeah. Only one lone loss in her career. That came in a sire stakes at the age of 2 up at Northfield Park. To the word is out. A very nice sire stake filly for the Burke Brigade. Again, 2 to 5, 1 to 5 even would be a gift on odds on Hialeah. Gabe touched on it a little bit. All the success that Virgil Morgan Jr. has had here in the states of Ohio, especially here at Sciota Downs. Leading trainer for the last 32 years. I was -7 the last time that somebody else won the leading trainer title. So it's hard to get around his filly. And odds on Hialeah, perfect 2 for 2, coming off of a very good qualifier. 2-year-old filly pacer of the year here in the state of Ohio. 1 to 2 going to be a gift. I'm going to use the Brian Brown trainee in there for a second to guard the fire. Cam McCown steers this filly by Catch the Fire. 1 win so far here. That came in a Buckeye Stallion Series event up at Northfield Park. She's going to be a big number here due to a heavy favorite. Just clicked up. She is 22 to 1. Another horse that I'm going to use in my business, that's the rail horse, Skywalker C. Austin Hanner's Todd Luther prepped this 2-year-old or 3-year-old filly down by the seaside. Been on the board, 5 of 6. She took a mark down in Oak Grove last year. Her second start of the season of 152. She is quick. She was second best to odds on Chesapeake, 2 back in 50 and 1. I don't know if she has what it takes to get the job done over odds on Hialeah, but she is a fast daughter of Down by the Seaside. Maybe Austin could use the rail to his advantage. Again, push away and get in early positioning. She is 10 to 1. So another horse coming off of a win is the 2 Rose Run Amy, 5 to 2. Clear second choice on the board right now. Dan Noble has been our leading driver here the past 2 years. He's off to a very good start here for the 2025 meet. Got the job done in a convincing style here last time out. In a little mini series that we have here, she was a winner by about 5 lengths. Got down to the quarter, 26 and 4. She matched it with the last quarter of 26 and 4 to establish a lifetime mark there that night. 149 and 4. She's in perfect 5 for 5 on the board here this season as the starting gates begins to roll into position. For the 3-year-old filly, sire stakes will also kick off a $1 pick 3. It's going to be very hard to get around the current 1 to 5 favorite. That's odds on Hialeah. She looks to remain perfect here for her sophomore season.
Ohio Sire Stake. 3-year-old filly pacers, 14th race from Sciota Downs. Start of the late pick 3. They're at the post of the here they go. They're off ahead, pacing. Rose Run Amy time the gate, goes for the lead. Skywalker C. It's racing away, second up on the outside. Here comes odds on Hialeah. Away 4th, gone to guard the fire, into the turn 5th, Seaside Wishes. Then Princess Di and down the Jersey Shore trails. Make their way over to the quarter. Rose Run Amy has got the lead, and she's waiting on odds on Hialeah. Skywalker C is jammed in there 3rd as Noble taps the brakes. Guard the fire 4th. 26 and 4 opening panel. Odds on Hialeah takes over, racing 5th. They pass the stands the first time. Seaside Wishes. Then Princess Di and down the Jersey Shore on the retake. Rose Run Amy back to the top. She'll give odds on Hialeah the pocket as they make their way on over to the hat. Skywalker C is still 3rd. Guard the fire next. Then Seaside Wishes. Princess Di down the Jersey Shore. They'll pass the hat. 55 seconds, 28-1, second quarter. Rose Run Amy leads. Odds on Hialeah, 3 to 5 favorites. Hits to the pocket. Skywalker C looking on from 3rd, then Guard the Fire. She'll come to the outside and follow the cover. Skywalker C is out and rushing up after the leader, and she is in gear right now. Seaside Wishes is next, 5th. Then it is down the Jersey Shore and the Trailer Princess Die, 3/4 and 1:22.1, 27.1 backside. Rose Run Amy with the lead. Skywalker C pouring on the pressure, but Rose Run Amy is holding sway. Odds on Hialeah in the pocket. Guard the Fire outside 4th. Top of the stretch on their way home. Rose Run Amy passing lane. Here comes Odds on Hialeah. Skywalker C still digging. It's Rose Run Amy. She is on her game. Rose Run Amy defeats Odds on Hialeah. Seaside Wishes was 3rd. Guard the Fire 4th. 1:49.4. She equals the track record again.
There you saw it, Rose Run Amy. The other horse that was taking some action in here was a clear second choice. Got the job done in a really fast time.
Yeah, she did. And she was 3 of 5 this year, Chris, with 2 seconds. Both losses were to the 6 odds on Hialeah, but she always tried to come from behind. Tonight, she turned the tables, tried a different tactic. It worked out.
If you like the 2, the 2's been the number to follow all night long. Back with more on America's Day at the Races.
Whether you maintain a food plot on the weekends, tend to a small herd of livestock, or work in professional landscaping, New Holland's family of Workmaster and Boomer compact tractors at Clinton Tractor can get the job done. Known for delivering outstanding value for their performance, these reliable, powerful, and easy to operate New Holland compact tractors will help you tackle your to-do list while being easy on your wallet.
We are the leader in service, Clinton Tractor.
ClintonTractor.net.
The 100th Hamiltonian is so significant because it's our most recognizable race. It was started as a way to increase breeding and interest in the sport with a purse that was unheard of at that time. I think $73,000 was the first purse in 1926. And it just grew in stature, in prominence, and it's recognizable worldwide.
Carl Yannick Gingras and Nancy Tactor. He's king of the Hamiltonian.
You know, harness racing is really big in Europe, in France, Italy, Sweden, Norway, Denmark. So, you know, all those viewers tune in to watch it, especially since it's raced during the day. So that works for, you know, the time difference with Europe. One of the things that makes the Hamiltonian so special is a horse has one chance in their life to be a Hamiltonian champion. You're only a 3-year-old once, so If you're not good that day, you missed your shot. Whereas, you know, with a Breeders' Crown or something like that, you can come back in, you know, the next couple of years and finally get yourself that title. I just think that, you know, you have that one shot to do it. The whole world's watching, and I don't know. It's just a really special, unique race.
There you see trainer Nancy Tactor talking about the Hamiltonian, 100th Hamiltonian coming up on August 2nd, live from the Meadowlands, of course. And Gabe, you're going to be plenty close to the action, watching it, broadcasting it. You saw John Campbell speaking about the Hamiltonian as well. Just all the history, and now the 100th coming up on August 2nd.
Yeah, it really is amazing, and it's just a heck of a day, Chris. I mean, it truly is, for those out there that maybe don't follow harness racing as closely, it's the Kentucky Derby of harness racing. I mean, it's for the 3-year-old trotters. As Nancy said, you only get that one shot, you know, when you have a horse, and obviously everything in the world can come into play, whether it be luck or trip or anything else, but it's just a fantastic day. Always a huge card. You know, that's not the only stake in that card as well. It's just loaded with stakes, and really every superstar in the sport will be in action on that Saturday at the Meadowlands.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of the top connections and a lot of the connections that we've seen this evening and going on in the lead-up as well, so it's important to watch all of our broadcasts in the lead-up because really we're covering a lot of these superstars that are going to be pointing to that big day, August 2nd. Sciota taking a look at their 14th race. Rose Run Amy pulls off it's not an upset really. Second choice there, 3-2. Gets it done over Odds on Hialeah.
Minor upset. Odds on Hialeah really never looked comfortable, but again, change of tactics tonight. Rose Run Amy took a shot to take the lead, make her pass on the inside. She couldn't get it done.
Yeah, a lot of great performances tonight. Any performances that really stuck out to you?
You know, it's I think that the graduate final there with Warwi Michelle. You know, Svanstedt with that big upset there, 14-1. I thought she was very, very good in that effort. Really won fairly easily, Chris. So you know that's one that jumped out. But again, just a lot of great performances, and I always love the youngsters as well. Just started their career there at Sciota, just learning how to race, and continue to follow them as they progress throughout their career.
A joy to do it with you, Jessica Otten, Jenna Otten on site. Another show coming up tomorrow, America's Day at the Races. Don't forget, 1 o'clock to 6:30. All the great thoroughbred action happening right behind us here at our Saratoga studio here on set, and you'll be enjoying that. So come on back. Plenty to come. The 100th Hamiltonian, August 2nd. Great harness action on America's Day at the Races here on FS2.
Time and time again to be the industry's online provider, selling the highest priced horses in all categories online, including racehorses, broodmares, yearlings, weanlings, and stallion shares. Full service, trusted and transparent. Contact Preferred for your online sales needs at www.preferredequineonline.com.
When the spotlight shines on the race, there's a team behind it, working before the world wakes up. They care, they sacrifice, they make it all possible. Best is here to care for them because they deserve the very best too. We support their health, their hopes, and their humanity. Best, behind every champion is a team, caring for the people who care for the horses.
Serving others is our foundation. That's why NYRA is building a pathway for businesses, individuals, and organizations to support charitable groups connected to horse racing in New York State and beyond. The NYRA Foundation, supporting our community.